Welcome back to Nerdrotic, everybody. My name is Gary Beekler, and I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And with me in parts unknown is Susan Layton. What's up, Susan?
Hey, Gary. Hey, everybody in the chat. Thanks for joining us. I see there's a lot of people streaming tonight. Thank you for choosing Nerdrotic, and we have a show for you tonight. Lots of stuff to talk about, and so many different genre verses. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been an interesting last 24 hours.
Yes.
And it's not like we coordinate with each other because we do not. So Midnight's Edge dropped a very interesting video yesterday after my live stream. I dropped one prior to the episode airing, Star Trek Discovery, an old bowl for Karen or whatever the heck it's called. And yes, I do plan to drop these things on the day of the episode, but I don't coordinate with other people. They don't coordinate with me. It just happened that way. And it's kind of this beautiful synergy. But I had planned to do an interview with Anas Abdeen for quite some time. Actually, he has reached out to me. He is a great dude. Love him a lot, and anything I can do to help him because I believe in his cause, and I also like him personally. So that's what I do. I help him as much as I can. Hang on, folks, you're gonna have to bear with me here. My chat is frozen for some reason.
Oh, okay.
It's unfrozen now, but I just gotta click it back out. So tonight, yes, we're gonna talk about the Midnight's Edge video. What they did was they presented a lot of circumstantial evidence. There is nothing confirmed. Let's be clear about this. This was just them laying out facts that we know, and then they did some rumor. But I'm convinced.
Yeah.
And Doomcock had reported on this 6 months ago. We all share an insider, right? And they have other insiders, and I have other insiders. And, listen, insiders are insiders. The one I know I actually talked to, it is, let's just say I know this person, have known this person for a long time. But the other insiders, people, when you have a YouTube channel that has a little bit of growth, people reach out. Okay. And they do. And some stuff you just gotta kind of take the good with the bad on that one. I appreciate people reaching out though. So don't not reach out. I try to get to as much as I can. This thing has grown so fast. I'm close to being overwhelmed. I was sick for the last 3 days. I'm trying to get back to everybody's messages. I've worked out a way to streamline this a little bit. And in the beginning of March, when I have everything cleaned up, I will have a new email to contact me at, and I'll just make that like the one place you can contact. Of course, you can still contact me via Twitter DMs. I am going to shut those down for a couple weeks so I can get, because I need to respond to a lot of messages, and I really appreciate them. It'll only be shut down for 2 weeks, and then I'll reopen it once everything's cleared out. So yeah, we really trying to get to
it. We do try to get to those messages, just like Gary said. Both of us are in there working the various sites every day. So just bear with us. If we don't get to you, that doesn't mean we're not interested. It just means that there's a lot in the mailboxes. So yeah. It's a lot going on.
And we'll get to them. You guys are awesome. You guys are great. And we love all the new subs and all the people in our chat. And hello, Jesse L. and It's a Trap Productions and Joseph and Mark Lazarth. The Hound 3000 still needs some hugs. Well, hugs are good. As long as they, do you have your forms for people to sign in triplicate before they hug you? Hound 3000, you might want to look into that. I'm sorry. This is the world we live in.
Involved.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole free hug thing that was going around for a while. Yeah, you can't even do that anymore. Blue Cat 42, greetings, Nerdrotic, Susan Layton, and everybody in the chat. Yes, hail to the chat. Peter Davison and his lovely mother. Mother says good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mother. Someday I want to meet Mrs. Davison and Peter Davison. I need to go to Australia, and that would be terrifying for me because I hate flying. But
well, you're flying in March, aren't you, to Italy?
I am. So my logic is not sound, but if the only reason I get into a plane is if I'm going to a place worth dying for. So Australia, Italy, yes. Yes, I'm going to Italy. I'm going to Europe, and I'm going to try to get to the UK, folks. So I'm going to try to do a meetup in the UK. More news on that later. Toronto Baghead. What's up, Toronto Baghead? Star Trek Discovery is no more Star Trek than Ghostbusters 2016 is Ghostbusters. Well said. Well said. Carl Manvers is in the chat. I'm looking forward to your movie. Hi, all. Just popped over from Doomcock. I need a breather, and I'm not drunk enough to deal with anything Trek. Well, unfortunately, we're going to get to that in a bit, but not right away. I really love the diversity of opinions in the chat. Hail Gary, hail Susan, and hail the nerd minions. Yes. Coin for the boatman, says JPR page 1. Yes. It's a Trap Productions. Hail Nerdrotic, one of my favorite geek news channels. You may not consider yourself a journalist, but I trust your word more than any mainstream media channel. Wow. That's some crazy high praise. Thank you so much. I won't sell you guys out. I won't. I just won't do it. I don't need to do it. There's nothing they could offer me, nothing they would offer me. So yeah, it's a moot point. What's up? Is Dr. Meatball in the house? What's up, Dr. Meatball? And Nitrium, Kavinsky Smith, my friend Matthew Matson, who is always working so hard. Mr. You're like working in that hospital doing your shit. That's great. Lloyd, simply Lloyd, is here. Mark Hawthorne just typed a period. Hi, Mark. Alex Brown. Roban's ZZ. Hey, Susan Layton's in the chat, Susan. Mark Gilbreth. Mark's 47. Oh man, there's a lot of Marks in here, man. Mark Lazarth. Spicy Nacho Haggis. Oh, I don't know. I like spicy. I like nacho, but haggis?
Haggis? I don't know.
Yes, I'm not sure. Not so sure. No, Tonight Show. Why would Tonight Show be canceled? The Red Angel is Tilly's other invisible friend. Yes, I know, right? Justin Doyle, how are you? Yeah, you got Doomcock in one ear and us in the other. Yes. We cross the streams, but yeah, that happens sometimes. Montana Horseman, what is up? What is up, everybody? TGV. Okay, so Black Tower, Terran, and yeah, I've gone all the way up there, and here we go. So Midnight's Edge dropped their video last night talking about Canon, putting 2 and 2 together, and it makes a lot of sense to me. There's a lot of stuff going on behind Star Trek. There was also the New York Times article where they paid. Let's talk about that one right now, because I heard some hubbub that the people at CBS were a little kerfuffled at the fact that it was known as a paid advertisement, but they had to know, right, Susan? Because
they did, because I know people in the advertising business, and I was in it for a time too. And whenever you have something like that is paid for by an entity, such as in this case CBS All Access, the corresponding newspaper must put that it is a paid for advertisement. So whomever, like I was talking to Gary in the pre-production meeting, whoever, in the marketing department claims that they didn't know this, maybe they should find another job, because this is like common knowledge.
Now, is it a law or is it just a rule?
I believe, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe it is a rule, but I also think it is by law, you have to do it. Okay.
I've seen this before. I mean, this isn't the first time I've seen this. The timing is just bad on this one. It's really bad. This show is, the air of desperation around it is obvious at this point. It's still up in the air. And like I said in my live stream last night, I believe they are waiting for Spock to show up on screen, and we'll see what happens there. Last night's episode was a less bad episode. It sucked less. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a couple things in there I definitely like. Doug Jones belongs in Star Trek. Absolutely belongs. That is Saru is a Star Trek character. Now, Saru's origin is still dumb from the short Trek. It doesn't bother me though. I have no problems with Doug Jones. I have no problems with Saru. I wish they would somehow keep him and put him in something else. Surround a show with him. I would totally watch a show with him without Kurtzman writing. I get asked a lot. We all get asked a lot. We all think about this. What would we watch this show with this cast? What could we do to fix it? Well, honestly, to get all the fans on board, you have to make it. You have to fundamentally change it. That's the problem. It's not Star Trek. You have to get rid of the creators, which they've already done twice. So what you're getting is a hodgepodge smorgasbord of patchwork, because there's been so much trouble with this show. It's been trouble from the get-go, and I think they just need to kill it, start anew with the Picard show, find new creators, new writers, seasoned Star Trek writers. If you want to bring in fresh blood, new people, and if you want to be diverse, there are diverse people who know Star Trek. That's the whole thing. We hear this diverse garbage, and it's diverse in their circle of friends. Okay. And I don't blame anybody for taking the job. Somebody offers you a job, you take it. This is not what this is about. This is about the people choosing the people for these jobs. And if you look, it's the same old folks. It's cronyism. It's just a way. That's
Hollywood.
That's Hollywood. It's opportunistic. It's cronyism. And that's why we don't get much change with this. So it lands solely with Alex Kurtzman, who does not deserve more work, period. I mean, this guy he's brought in some money, but Amazing Spider-Man 2, that should be it. That should end a career. When you screw up the death of Gwen Stacy, that's career ending, because it's the easiest story to adapt. It's a love story. You build up the love story, and then what happens. I don't want to spoil it for the two people who don't know what happened, but it's the most important story to Spider-Man. It's a defining moment, as much as Uncle Ben was, if not more, because he was over Uncle Ben. I mean, he still felt bad, but he was over Uncle Ben, and he was starting to, his life was getting a little better, and it just crushed him again. And oh my God, when you read it in the comic book, which is always looked down upon by idiots like Bill Maher and stuff, it brings you to tears. It's terrible. And this was written in the 70s. So, and yeah, he adapted it and jacked it up. But I don't think anybody could have jacked it up worse than he did. And the people involved, and the directors, Mark Webb and everything, they take full responsibility. Other thing I want to point out, this was pointed out on Twitter as we're looking at this picture. On the left, we have Laurel. Did you notice they removed 1/4 of her skull? Like she doesn't have an elongated alien head anymore. So if you look on the bottom left there, well, because she has hair, and for the hair to work aesthetically, they had to make the skull smaller. Look at how big it is. And she looks nothing like she used to do. And that tells you how much care they put into this show, which is zero. I was watching a Red Letter Media's review of the short treks, which is hilarious. And they pointed out a couple things I completely missed. In Calypso, there's a shooting star in outer space. That's as bad as Sonar in Space. I'm like, I can't believe I missed that. They have a shooting star in outer space. Also, they talked about recrystallizing dilithium crystals. Now, I am not a Trek expert. Actually, I don't know if I know a lot about a lot of things, but I'm not an expert in a lot of things. That's kind of what worked for me at the comic shop. I try a lot of things. I'd say the thing I'm into the most is probably Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who. Those are the things I'm into the most, and Game of Thrones. But there's no like one thing that's why I don't center the channel around one thing. I have a passion for a lot of things. But yeah, so apparently they talked about Spock had mentioned in a line in Star Trek 4 about recrystallizing dilithium crystals with the technology they had in Earth in the 20th century. So it's been talked about before, and I'm sure it's been talked about other places that I'm forgetting right now. And the girl in Runaway, apparently they had a way of forgetting the show. It was so forgettable. They had a way of recrystallizing dilithium crystals. That's something, I mean, hey, I can miss, people in the chat can miss, Susan can miss, but the showrunner who wrote that episode missed. And you know, in the interviews, he in interviews at the oh god, I'm brain farting here, the Blu-ray special features, Kurtzman had mentioned that you know, I remember being a kid and going to my friend's house and watching Star Trek. Not like watching, did he not have it? Maybe he didn't have a TV. I doubt it, but maybe he didn't have a TV. You know, Kurtzman's my age, so you know, Star Trek was on all the time. It still is on all the time, but it was really on all the time back in our day, right, Susan?
Yeah, it was. It was on faithfully. I mean, that's, well, because I was just like, right when Star Trek came on the air, I was, you know, maybe a couple months old. So the way I got to know Star Trek was in the early 70s when it started to be syndicated, when it first became syndicated. And that's where everybody started learning about Star Trek, especially in our age group.
Yep, the syndication. God love it. Remember when that used to be a thing? If our series lasts 5 years,
yeah, remember that?
Yes.
When seasons were 22 episodes or 26 episodes. Yeah, not anymore.
No, not anymore. Speaking of which, we could talk about this real quick. We could talk about I'm going to get back to that article because I want to read it because it's pretty rich, but I want to talk about this first. The Expanse. The Expanse dropped on Amazon Prime today. It's a show you hear a lot of us talk about. It's a show we started covering. God, it was the second season I started covering it. Was it the second season? First season, second season. I can't remember now. No,
yeah.
I picked it up in the 5th episode of the second season. That's when we started, because we were just doing a podcast at the time. We weren't recapping television, and we had just started recapping television, and we tried out this thing called The Expanse. We used to do a show called Nerdrotic Premieres, where it was Melissa and Dennis at the time and John at the time. We'd all pick a show, and then we'd watch it. It was a premiere show, and then we'd all talk about the show and see if we wanted to cover it from there. That's how we found Taboo, and that's how we found The Expanse. We also kicked a lot of shows to the curb, like The Young Pope and the Santa Clarita Diet, and like, which was okay. I wasn't that into it. So we found The Expanse, and I ended up, I'm like, okay, The Expanse was my show to watch. So I ended up watching one, and I had to work the next day, and I watched the whole season in a night.
Jesus.
I couldn't stop. It was freaking great. So I'm like, and this is based on a book, and I bought all the books and I read all the books, and that's how I get into things. I massively dive into it when I really like something. It is simply the best sci-fi show on TV. So if Star Trek fans, which I'm sure a lot of them already watched The Expanse, you need an alternative. That's your alternative. Star Trek Discovery cannot hold a candle to this show in any way, shape, or form.
You also want to watch too, for another reason. If you support The Expanse, which a lot of people that watch us on Nerdrotic do, you want to make sure that you are watching those shows, because they look at that. They look at how those ratings are performing, and then that will also help them going into their season on Amazon, because it keeps the buzz going. The more you talk about it, the more publicity it gets, and the more that they're confident in Amazon that they did the right thing in saving the show from cancellation. So even though it's not on yet, keep talking it up, because those things are important. Networks look at that.
They do. And well, The Expanse is on Amazon Prime now, so now you can watch all of season 3. You can binge it. I do not know how they're going to drop it. They threw up Cass Anvar threw up hey, how do you want us to drop this, all at once or episodic? They absolutely have to drop this thing episodic. It is not a show made to be binged before. No. It's binging later is fine, but there's too much going on each. It would be like dropping Game of Thrones to binge. It
Oh,
would be,
Jesus, no.
it makes no sense. There's too many characters. There's too many names to remember. There's too many plot points, and it's really well written, but it takes time to watch it. They do it perfectly. They pace that show perfectly. It's very cinematic, and it's expanding this year. They're going to be doing something they haven't done in the previous three seasons that I don't want to ruin. And yeah, it's simply the best sci-fi show in television. One of my top 3 shows that we're watching right now. And well, the one that's going to survive out of my top 3 shows are my top 3 shows are The Expanse, Counterpart, and Legion. And 2 of those shows are going to be ending, unfortunately. So, but yeah, Star Trek Discovery continues, and Krypton, and
Jesus, Krypton. I thought that was gone.
No, it's got a season 2.
Yay.
Got a season 2. Let's get to the chat a little bit here. I'm going to scroll up, so we might be referring to stuff before. Jaeger Bomb, $5. Is there any hope that Space Hitler in Spy 31 and Picard will get aborted? It's sad to where we're dreading more over looking forward to more. This Midnight's Edge video is and I got a couple super chats I got to get right to you guys. I believe me, they're talking about it. I guarantee you they're talking about it. They probably weren't happy. Well, I know they're not happy every time I bring up the lawsuit, because I'm kind of the only one right now, other than you fine people in the chat who have been hashtagging justice for Anas. Thank you for doing that, by the way. I really appreciate it. And so does he. And Midnight's Edge talks about it, and Doomcock talks about it. But I'd like for more people to talk about it. I think, hey, shout out to Bounding in the Comics or Bleeding Fool. That's a great article that would get you a ton of clicks. If you wrote that article, you don't have to put my video in. Actually, reach out to Anas Abdeen. He is on Twitter, and I'm sure he would do something with you guys. He has to run the questions by his lawyers first, and that makes total sense. But yeah, anybody, if you got a small website, write about it. You'll get some attention. It's really good. And it's a good cause. You're protecting independent creators from the big bad corporation, and that's kind of anybody on any side can get behind. Everybody loves the underdog. Jaeger Bomb, thank you again for the $5. Peter Davison, $5 Australian dollars. We'll rejoin you soon if possible. Hey, that's okay. You can always watch it as a video. Thank you so much, Peter Davison, for the $5 Australian dollars. Eric Hawk, how are you? Hey, and just in case you didn't know it was a hawk, there's a hawk in his picture right there. I don't know my birds. I'm assuming it's a hawk. Come the day when Les Moonves approaches Karen, the oarsman in the river Styx, Karen will reject his coin and spit in his feet. Thus, this is his shame. Exactly. Oh, boy. Oh, Eric, you're so right. Les Moonves he's a Hollywood producer. So to get that high in Hollywood, like how many people, you literally walk up a stairway of human beings.
Well, I mean, they said on Midnight's Edge After Dark, and they're in the chat. Thanks, guys. That was a hell of a video, hell of a production value. For those of you that, want to share it, by all means do, because it's very interesting information for those that may not understand the corporate machinations that actually go on in Hollywood. But in that video, they were very, very pointed about saying that Moonves was basically known as a pit bull. He was an old school guy. He was hard nosed, and it sounded like you did it his way, or there was the door. Don't let it hit your ass on the way out. And unfortunately, that's the type that succeeds. You can't, like Kathleen Kennedy, you can't forget what they did, though, prior to what they messed up. I mean, he did provide us with halfway decent, material, but in the 90s. But that being said, it doesn't excuse half of the stuff that was in the video. But yeah, definitely check out that video. We'll be talking about it in a little bit. But yeah, Moonves had that reputation, Gary. You were absolutely correct. Him and Redstone, too.
Well, he had a lot. Yeah. And believe me, Redstone's daughter, Sumner, had the Me Too stuff in her back pocket, and Moonves could have played ball. He could have played ball. And believe me, they waited till, this is my speculation, by the way, all of this. They waited till Sumner was old enough, because you want to talk about some Me Too. I bet you there is a tome-sized book of his Me Too. He had 2 living girlfriends.
That was amazing. In his 80s. Whoa.
In his 90s.
90s.
I'm sure there was some stuff, and they waited just until he was old enough to where it doesn't really matter anymore, does it? But if listen, maybe, again, my speculation, maybe Moonvis knows that that, what's her name again, Sumner Redstone, maybe she deliberately hid some of it or something. I mean, people can, there's dirt on everybody, so that's why I'm actually surprised. I thought when Weinstein went down, Sherry, sorry, why did I say Sumner? Sherry. And I'm surprised when Weinstein went down, more people didn't go down. I know a lot of people did, but there's so much more.
Well, something funny in that video, if you pay attention, there's a picture of Les Moonves at some kind of panel, and next to him is Harvey Weinstein.
Yes.
That's priceless.
I'm forgetting his name right now, but the producer who's covering for Bryan Singer, God, I'm damn close to doing a video. I usually don't like to get near subjects like that, but he's got a producer protecting him right now. The guy who's producing Red Sonja. Watch out for that dude. That guy, I don't know. Lots of weird stuff. Let's get to the chat here. G'day, mate, from Sam Dean. How's it going? Jabba, what's up? Dangerous Nerds. Anthony Buford, about the Orville. It just keeps getting better and better and better, which with each episode. I truly look forward to many more seasons to come. Hopefully Fox will have the brains and the stones to keep it. I think they will. My concern is completely gone about that, Anthony. Once you see the consolidated data, and basically as many people watch it streaming as watch it live, so you're doubling your and those are good ratings.
I wonder if they can factor in the new Nielsen metric away from home, like CBS did.
Oh yeah, how they the away from home net, where they found 12 million extra viewers for the Super Bowl. Oh, and hey, they found it's 9 or 10 like 10,000 to 20,000 more viewers. No, it's more than that. Maybe it was like 100,000. I don't know the exact number, but for Doctor Who, for the premiere of season 11, they magically found enough numbers to actually have it beat Eccleston's premiere about 2 weeks later. So
I wonder if they use that magical metric.
Yeah. Hey, honestly, they should, you know what? Anytime somebody watches your show, I know it's a time period and that's how you sell it to advertisers, but the BBC doesn't sell to advertisers, so they can count whatever the hell they want. I'm sure they could count data on the 2005 series 10 years out. It all counts, right? So yeah, America needs to really fix that stuff, and I don't know.
Well, the away from home metric is specifically created for sports, and what it was supposed to do, or what it is designed to do, is it's designed to measure things like sports bars, like a certain percentage of people in the bar are watching X game, that's on. And it just amazes me how other non-sports people are taking this metric and just kind of gerrymandering it for their own purposes. It's great. To me, it's like cheating, but I guess that's the Hollywood way. I don't know.
Yeah, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Robin Pittinger. Gary, thank you for giving us an island of reason in a nerdy world gone mad. Robin, thank you so much. And really, we're in a world gone mad if I am any kind of voice of reason at any time. Okay? If Mrs. Neurotic heard that, she'd be laughing her ass off, right? What? Thank you, Robin. I really appreciate that. Hey, so super chats are not required on this channel. I am grateful for all of them, but I try to read as much chat as I have it slowed down a little bit. But if you really want to get my attention, make sure to hit that either at Susan Layton, you little, or at Nerdrotics, and it lights up for me so I can see it. It's very helpful. When sharing When sharing a urinal, never cross the streams. Idiotic tirades, exactly. Especially when they used to have the trough at the sports ball stadiums. It was a very awkward thing. And I have remember, in American Pie.
Yeah.
Shit break. Yeah, that's me. I used to go home from school. STD.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
I know. I was going to say, I think everybody had that phobia at one time or another.
It's normal.
Yeah.
STD masterclass is cutting and pasting better material together and still sucking. Yes, Mark Lazarth. God, I feel bad. I was watching the Anti-Trekkers live stream this morning, and I saw there was a little bit of a division in there, whether it just completely sucked or just kind of sucked. And I actually saw a couple of people who I actually subscribe to their channel, and I still love them. Don't worry. But they were giving it a 7 out of 10. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, that you can't fight nostalgia. And I don't blame anybody personally for liking the show. I'm not judging you. This is not what this is about. As a matter of fact, watch it, enjoy it, but just don't judge me for not liking it. But none of it is ever a personal attack on anybody for liking the show. As far as it being good, I'm doing my breakdown video. Actually, I'm in the middle of making it. It's about halfway done. It'll be out tomorrow afternoon. I think this episode, for lack of a better term, is a prime example of why Star Trek Discovery doesn't work. I think this as probably the best episode of Star Trek Discovery. It is a prime example of why it doesn't work. It has 3 storylines that are mushed in there where nothing happens. It's characters where they don't show anything. How do we know Jim Kirk was a badass? Because we saw Jim Kirk being a badass. We didn't constantly have Spock standing next to him going, Jim, you're extraordinary. You're so extraordinary. You're amazing, Jim. Jim, you are amazing. Jim, you're amazing. Every episode, Tilly is told she's amazing. Every episode, somebody overly compliments in a very unnatural way Michael Burnham. Saru did it, and Stamets did it for Tilly. Every episode. So we hear that so much. That's when the crowd that just consumes a TV show in little bits goes, oh my God, Tilly is so amazing because they said she was amazing, but we didn't see her. All she got was consumed by a booger. So and that's the show. And that's just bad writing. That's all it is. There's ways of showing when you overly, when there's too much affirmation in a show, that's fan fiction. That's what fan fiction does. And I've read my share. I owned a comic store for 10 years. Lots of people wanted me to read the fan fiction, and they were customers, so I had to read it. And some of it was good. But my answer is the same as George R.R. Martin's, where by all means do it. It's a great way to, cut your teeth and get good. But honestly, save your best shit for yourself, please. And right now, it's the way Star Trek treats its fans. They don't deserve anybody making fan fiction. They should think they're lucky stars. Alec Peters is out there, and people make it up. I was just watching. I know the Vic thing is a big deal right now. Star Trek Continues is so cool. I like it so much. It's cool. And Axanar is just the shit. It is great. What's up, Gary? What's up, Susan? Howdy, chat. Belta Lauda, says Tim F. I know we got Expanse. I need them to announce a premiere date for season 4. Could you do that for me, Expanse people, please?
I think they're probably working on it. Probably getting it ready.
They just wrapped Principal.
Yeah.
So it's going to be at least 3 months. So my guess is June, and maybe they save it to the fall. Maybe they save it to the fall. I have a feeling they might be at Comic-Con. So if they're at Comic-Con, I will be very much looking forward to it. By the way, yes, I am going to Comic-Con. It's this, and I mean it this time. This is my last San Diego Comic-Con. That is it.
What?
I've been to so many, and this is the 50th one. This is probably honestly, I haven't counted. I'll go back and count, but it's in the mid 30s. How many I've gone to.
Wow.
So I'm going to let that ticket go to somebody else who hasn't gone yet. And I'm going to start going to other cons. Like I'll probably start regularly going to New York or Chicago or both.
You're going to East Bay, right?
I'm going to, no, the East Bay one is Sunday. Yeah, I'll be there. But I'm just going to go there as a fan. I tried to contact them. They didn't get back to me. So I tried I emailed them. Oh, I was going to buy a table.
Yeah.
I tried to call. I emailed them 5 times. I said, yeah, I'll give you money for a table. And they had tables available and they didn't get back to me. So, oh, well.
You know, I'm glad you bring that up about cons, because some of the cons, and I know this because I'm dealing with it, trying to get my writers in there, because we will do press for for the cons prior to attending, and we don't even ask them, we just do it. And a lot of them are very gracious, and they'll offer press passes, and we do it because we like to spotlight cons at 1428. So I had a conversation with somebody this week about trying to get one of my writers into a con, and we did a great article on that con, and they're like, well, it's just kind of like our mood of the day. Either we'll get to your request or we won't, but we really don't publicize this con. We publicize another con that we do more heavily. And if we like what you do for this one, well, we'll consider you. And I thought, really, that's how you treat people that could possibly give you publicity? You ignore them like these people you wanted to buy a vendor table and they never got back to you.
That sounds like a volunteer got back to you. That doesn't sound like somebody from the actual con. That can't.
No, it was the owner.
Oh,
I called him directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so I know a con for you to promote, the Creature Feature con they're putting on, and I'll give you all the information. They actually wanted me to talk to you about that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that off air. Let's get to some super chats, and I'll get right back to you in the chat. Remember, at Nerdrotics or at Susan Layton. She can answer questions too, of course, because she is the co-host. Kylo 101, thank you for the $2. This is funny. Oh, man. I still go to the Outpost. The Comic Outpost is my old comic shop that I sold. But I never see you there. Bad timing? No, I sold it. I sold it 5 years ago to Brian Hibbs. He kept on one of my employees. He had kept on 2, actually, and then one of them left. And one of them is still there. And yeah, I don't go there really anymore. I once in a while, if Nerdrotic Jr. wants to go check out a comic store and I'm too lazy to go other places because I like to spread my love. Sorry, Kylo 101. But yeah, maybe we'll do a San Francisco meetup someday. I kind of wanted to do a Comic Outpost reunion with my own employees. So maybe we can make it a reunion / meetup thing here. That'd be kind of cool. TK, $2. Here's a super chat for your gratitude. Oh, thanks, TK. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're the best. Jared Lors, $2. Are Saru's Death to
Yeah, that one. Deathicles. Yeah.
Deathicles falling off a retcon. Maybe. Oh, that wins. That so wins. Hashtag Deathicles. Neon Visual, what is up? They got a channel. Go check them out. They do fun stuff over there. They're pretty awesome. £2. Hashtag not canon. And I saw what you did there. So you guys, if you guys don't know, Alex Kurtzman starts every sentence with "and."
Really?
I think I brought that. Yeah, the first video I did. God, I think it was the first time I did like a video for news to try it out. It was back in October of last year, and it was an Alex Kurtzman interview. And I'm like, God damn, he starts every sentence with "and." And I thought that was the writer, but I'm like, no, the writer. I mean,
no, if he's a writer, he shouldn't even start his sentences with the same article. That they tell you in basic writing class, that is the mark of a piss poor writer. So, wow, he can't even speak. That's great.
Yep, there you go. Neon Visual, cheers. Cheers. Peter Davison, $10 Australian running about for crazy family. Will keep up with Nerdrotic soon. It's okay, Peter. It's a video. You be careful. It's summer down there, so it's probably all nice. That's so weird. It's really, you know what? It's still weird talking to people in Australia from my little room here in San Francisco, where it snowed today.
What? Oh, yeah.
Snowed in Palo Alto. And not like a little snow, like snowman snow.
Well, Seattle's getting blasted with a blizzard.
Wow, that's rare for them too.
Yeah.
Skedaddle. Let's get back to the chat now. Okay, we'll do that. And we got some articles to read for you later, but I want to like definitely just talk to you guys right now. That's what I'm feeling. Saru's deathicles are idiotic. It is the dumbest concept that they don't need for such a brilliant actor and character. He can sense the coming of death. Wow. You know what? I can sense the coming of dinner. That is my that's my my superpower. Yes. When dinner is about to be served, I can sense it. So I can sense the inevitable that I can't do anything about. So what's the deal? I mean, because the way he presents it is like it's kind of a spider sense. I guess because they're a prey race, but if they can sense the coming of death in their prey, why do they just give themselves up? That makes no sense. Fire Kurtzman and hire Ronald D. Morris as Dangerous Nerds. Oh my God. I would do a 24-hour live stream of just screaming with joy if that happened. Star Trek would be saved. But as Midnight's Edge reported, even if the right writers came in due to the licensing, we're not going to get true Star Trek. We're not going to get a pure Star Trek. Now, I am not a Canon fanatic, all right? But the aesthetic of the show is very important to me. It's not Star Trek without that. That's why the logo even looks different. I mean, why would you even change the original series Star Trek logo? Star Trek is perfect. It's the perfect font. Why would you change that? Because they had to.
Yep.
I mean, it's iconic as hell.
That video explains so much, though.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, well, I'll link it when this turns into a video. I'll link it in the description, but you guys know where it is too. It's at Midnight's Edge. Well, also this brings up the issue of the Picard series. Obviously, the Picard series now is not true Star Trek canon. It is prime canon, so this is fake Picard. Even though you got Sir Patrick Stewart in it, well, you got Leonard Nimoy in 2009 Trek, and that wasn't the real Spock.
No,
that was a different version of Spock. And then you have Van Sitters, who was my hope was going to be the voice of reason in this, tweeting out earlier that wouldn't it be great if just all Star Trek universes existed? Well, there's a reason he tweeted that out, because they're trying to deliberately muddy the water. Now, as far as licensing contracts and stuff, I know dick about, but I know about toy licensing. I know about it on the retail end. I know about it on the production end. I had to deal with a ton of them at the comic store, and I know how those things work. Star Trek, as Red Letter Media pointed this out brilliantly in their video, that Star Trek fans are very particular, and you're trying to muddy the waters with one of the smartest fan bases, if not the smartest fan base out there. I mean, the one that spawns scientists for NASA and shit like that. You're trying to confuse them. Good luck. Good fucking luck. What's up, DJD Show? Welcome, my friend. Welcome. So you're trying to fool your fan base. You could fool the normies, the people who are watching, who subscribe to CBS All Access for Big Brother, and then just happen to go to Star Trek because OMG Star Trek Tumblr, yay! And they're I'm sorry if anybody watches Big Brother. It's not a personal attack, but I mean, come on, you're watching Big Brother. Like, I watch trash too. Okay, I like the Swamp People. I like Swamp People. It's a trashy show, but I love it. I think the problem with Aliens is they couldn't find more indie dev ideas to rip off. I thank you. I'm just gonna say PSYK3, or is it Psyker? Yes, they couldn't rip off Anas Abdeen anymore. I can't say allegedly, in my opinion. And yeah, it really does. The more I think about it, Susan, it sounds like, because they're according to my insider, none of Brian Fuller's ideas were used. He was all about the canon, and was part of the reason he left. So they just used his basic concept. His basic concept was he wanted a black female lead. He didn't have any characterization in that or anything. So they had to fill a lot of blanks. He had stuff outlined, so they loosely used what he had outlined. God, if I was him, I would have my name taken off the show. It might legally be like a very good thing for him. Maybe he can't. I don't know. Yeah. So it sounds like Kurtzman and company came in and filled the blanks, and they were under the gun. The show had been delayed. CBS was relying on it to launch their streaming network, which they had to stream without it. They had to launch without it, but they were going to do a rollout. Okay. So yes, it did launch, but there's a rollout when you announce everything, when you do your grand opening, and they wanted it to be Star Trek. And yeah, it got delayed so much. And then actor schedules started changing. God, they recast. That's why it's so weird in the first season. And it seems like they killed 2 main bad guys within the first 3 episodes. It's because one of them was supposed to be the main bad guy, and then he couldn't be in the show. So they just relegated him to the background a little bit. I'm forgetting the actor's name. I'll tell it to you next time. And yeah, they had to fill in a lot of blanks. So I can believe that they were under the gun and possibly did a little Googling to try to get some inspiration. That could happen. That sounds logical.
Yeah, this show, I don't know. I'm beginning to think, can we just to make everything just go away? Can we just remove Star Trek and just call it Discovery, and it'll be like Babylon 5, and it'll be its own thing?
Well, I am totally okay with it. If it's just its own thing,
yeah,
fine. I don't like what's behind it. I don't like trying to, deliberately being dishonest to fans. Now, this isn't a new thing for corporations, but again, this isn't just, this isn't Murder, She Wrote and CSI. This is Star Trek. So some of them are going to take this personally. Now, some are going to be in complete denial, and I'm sure there's going to be people going, bullshit, it's real canon, despite all the evidence in their face. And CBS is never going to admit it. Although I think at this point, if they did, it might help them. It might actually help them, because I'm kind of okay with it being its own thing. That's what I've been saying all along. It's like, be your own damn thing.
I think if it were its own entity and it wasn't attached to Star Trek, and they came out with, this is a new science fiction, inspired by, for those of you that loved whatever they want to spin it, and it was its own thing with its own characters, which is basically what it's trying to do, I think it would be better received by fans of science fiction than trying to glom it onto a well-established franchise that has people that have been following it since the 60s and trying to claim that it's part of the Star Trek world. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Yep. What's up, Willie Woodward? How's it going? Reno is toxic femininity. Janet Reno was just, I don't know, her voice bugs me a little bit, but yeah.
Jet Reno, you mean?
Jet Reno. Did I say Janet Reno?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
All I saw was Will
Remember
Ferrell.
Waco, Janet Reno. Channel falling upward. Yes, MK Dumas. Remember that commercial? Mr. Dumbass, I have really got this. It's Mr. Dumas. I love that commercial. Saru is a cow with half a brain and vocal cords. But now he feels his power because he got plugged into the sphere that had 1,000 years of information, that didn't want to die alone, that pulled a ship out of warp, that didn't kill anybody, but damn near did.
Lou Bella is so confused. We all are.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't care enough to look into it, but I have to. Like the universal translator thing, which again, Annie Tricker was going on for. That's what I love about nerds. They can go on about the universal translator thing from the beginning of that episode for on and on. So here's my understanding of the universal translator in that timeline as a Star Trek fan, not a expert. I am not a Trek yard or anything like that. It worked through the communicator at that time, right? Okay.
Right.
So what it does is it just translates translate the voice, and it makes it sound like they're speaking English to you in what would be their voice, but
Right.
and we're just supposed to use suspension of disbelief on why the lips don't match when they're talking. We're just like, because it's not a neural link. It's not going into your head and your brain. As far as I know, I just thought it was in the communicator and it was just translating for you. It could be a neural link. I don't know. Is it a Babel fish? Because if the Babel fish, that made sense. But when everybody started talking different languages and they were actually speaking it and people were seeing the words, is that just a suspension of disbelief thing? And their lips aren't matching. Is that in their head or are they hearing it? Now,
yeah, that's interesting because they never really delved into that in the original series either, because I think they had that as well.
Later on, it was through their comm badges, and then who knows? They've done a million different things with it. Honestly, I've never paid attention that much. I just kind of assumed, hey, everybody can understand each other. That's great. And the Orville never talks about it, so.
No.
They have first contact with a planet that speaks complete perfect English. So
that was interesting. I know.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to look at implausibility, well, you talked about the torches on the ship and everything. We've talked about that, but I actually started delving into the spore, the organic propulsion system. I couldn't find anything anywhere, and I was like deep Googling this to find out if we're actually working on something like that. I found the EMF drive. We're looking to get green with our propulsion for deep space exploration, but nothing about anything to do with organic.
We're trying to get green.
Yes, we are.
That's what blew up the shuttle. The foam. They changed the foam because they tried to get green and back to that. So what they used is mushroom roots are huge, right? So they're all under the ground and they're all connected. That's what they used. Somebody read Paul Stamets, the real Paul Stamets, who's like this mushroom guru, and he's got a mushroom hat he likes, and they just ran with it and used quantum and tachyon fields and reverse the polarity, and here we go. And that happens sometime. That's fine. Whatever. It doesn't fit in the show, and they found a way to get rid of it. So they said that it's a realm, basically. People live in it. So every time Stamets was popping in there, he was killing people. And so there's gonna be.
Well, we had to have a message. I mean, we had to have a message even with propulsion.
Yes.
I mean, really?
There's also something I missed on my live stream that I'm going to mention in my video that I caught as well in the very beginning when number one is talking to Pike. They said there's some kind of bug in the hologram. So he told them to get rid of it in the Enterprise and said, just use view screens. He's all, I never liked the hologram anyway. It made me feel like I was seeing ghosts, and not like, maybe I was like, the dog barking. I didn't catch that. I caught it this time. So the Enterprise does not have holograms. I hope that's not their only explanation for that only the Enterprise, because that would be dumb because there were other ships. So the Orville mentioned a universal translate in the episode Into the Fold, where Dr. Finn, the kids, and Isaac were stranded. Gotcha. But how does it work? But I'm sure they mentioned it. I just didn't catch it. Reverse the polarity to the quantum tachyon field. Go green. We promise we won't go green. We promise we won't explode this time. Yes.
I mean, it's amazing to me that I know Neil deGrasse Tyson because he's a famous debunker of science in science fiction films when it doesn't make sense. And he's got his own, bag of troubles right now. But I'm surprised he hasn't come out about the implausibility of some of the science within STD.
I mean, he showed his cards with, I mean, I was kind of okay with the guy. Listen, as a YouTuber, as somebody, listen, I can't really judge somebody for wanting attention if you're a YouTuber, but I will anyway. He always seems like he will not shy away from a camera. I never liked the guy very much. I'm a Michio Kaku guy. He's like, he's kind and open, and he's been on Art Bell, and he entertains thoughts because he's a freaking scientist. Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of the most closed-minded, dogmatic scientists I've ever seen. And with the whole Oumuamua thing, he showed his cards with that. He's it's an asteroid. Yeah, sure it is. It's one that speeds up and is metal. And
I'd like to see, like, Michu's take on STD, or Seth Shostak. I'd just like to see somebody of that ilk go in and just start deep diving into the science crap that doesn't make sense. I mean, at least with the original series, you had warp drive, which, we don't have it now, and it's fantastical, but it doesn't mean we can't have it in the future. It is grounded in science, but this organic sports shit, come on now.
It's just dumb. And they owe us money for it, in my opinion. Kylo 101 $2 super chat. Love a reunion. So many memories. Anyway, here's $2. Kylo, I'll do one. I'll throw up a little Facebook event. That's something I could probably commit to, because it's just me hanging out in time. Maybe we can do a podcast from there, but I'm really not supposed to commit to anything for like 6 months, right? It's a little crazy right now. Don't worry, I'm not going to go out and try to start a comic book and do an Indiegogo. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. By the way, my comic book Indiegogo. No, just kidding. No Indiegogos or anything like that. Gladys Lors $1.99. Picard, Cisco, Kirk, all awesome. What's FMK?
FMK?
Is that like some internet abbreviation that I'm not?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I'm going to look it up now because I'm old and I don't know them all. Who in the fuck is calling me at 8 o'clock at night? Come on.
FMK is it fuck, marry, or kill?
Oh, okay. There you go. And hers are, I didn't catch that now. So now that I know,
yep.
We got to try not to drop the F-bombs, even though I do all the time. Okay, so Picard, and she'd marry Cisco and kill Kirk.
No.
Wow.
No.
Hey, she's entitled to her opinion.
She is.
Well, yeah, Kirk's a rascal, that guy. Thank you, Gladys. That's awesome. Joan of Arc 33. Joan of Arc is in there. I'm glad you're back, Joan of Arc. I'm really sorry about the fire. $9.99. Thank you for the super chat. Is STD making money? How much more do you think they'll invest in the show? That is a great question, Joan of Arc 33. She's actually, she's reincarnated 33 times.
Oh my God! Stop.
It's probably
sorry about the fire. I'm sorry.
Sorry about the fire. Yeah. So, okay, that's a good question. How much money is it making? I don't think it's making any money. I think it's a giant loss for right now. So by all accounts, the budget for season 1 or season 2 was used up in the first few episodes.
Really?
Completely used up.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they tried to run the short treks to get a little more money, and they couldn't get it. And the thing is, CBS has money, but none of these companies pay for the damn TV show. They pay production companies to produce it, and so the reason they're companies is they try to pay for as little as possible. It's like a sports ball team, they don't build their own damn stadiums. They get a dumb city to do it. And most of them do, and whatever. The reason they're rich is because they pay for as little as possible. I think they were forced to spend a lot of their own money in season 2, which they are not happy about. The only reason this show is staying around, in my opinion, is to save face and to save the face of your streaming service. I think, and under any other circumstances, the axe would have fallen on this show completely.
No. They have, and we don't know any details about Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone, but you would think they would want to back an Oscar winner over STD, to try and, maybe use that as a cornerstone, because he's got fans built in. Star Trek does too, but not for this particular show.
Well, they thought the fans were just going to roll in with
Right.
Star Trek, and they did not, unfortunately. We have a $1 super chat where a message was retracted. I don't know who it was. If you're being a little salty in the super chats, YouTube is weird about that. So you could throw in $1 and then be salty in the regular chat, and they usually kind of let it go. But you might want to watch out. Yes, YouTube is censoring super chats. There's no other way to put it. So I'm sorry. Spend $1 on that. I wish I could refund you. My bad. But hit Nerdrotic and ask the question in the chat, please. I'm very interested in hearing that. CJ, which is not this. Oh, maybe that. No. Why is that not? That's weird. That's not popping up. Even without the politics, the writing is a total fail regardless. Thanks for always being online for fans to share the truth of what this show is. Yes. Thank you, CJ. Thank you for the super chat. And yeah, that's part of the reason I go live 3 times a week. This is a great time to contact me about stuff. I'm right here. I'm right here. So yeah, and I like to be available because you guys have less and less places to go to vent your opinions. Most of the comment sections on most sites are shut down now.
Why?
Because they don't want to hear it. They simply don't want to hear it. And we're okay. Bring it. That's why I tell the Star Trek fans who are pro Star Trek Discovery, I'm like, you're wasting your time adding me on a tweet. Like, I'm probably not going to see it. But I'm right here. Here I am. And plus, as I told you in a private message earlier, I save my best material for YouTube. I mean, best material is very subjective, but I don't waste it on Twitter. What do you think of Demi Lovato musical or Rent on the STD crew? Oh God, Gladys Lors, that was so terrible. What did you think of it?
I just looked at it, and the minute I saw 525, whatever Anthony Rapp was doing, I knew immediately what it was, and I was like, nope, not having it. This is cute, but no, just stop. Please stop.
Yeah, man, I was going to pitch to other YouTubers that it wouldn't have gone over well, but and nobody would have said no, and I don't sing, but it would have been funny if other YouTubers did some Team America, if you know what I mean, their version of Rent. Like me and Doomcock, everybody has AIDS.
Team America, oh my God.
I love that movie so much.
I love it too.
God dang. I noticed that Nerdrotic, Midnight, and Doomcock actually have about 80% or more of the same info, so it is nice to know that it is consistent. Rogue FFX1, it is consistent. And I mean, listen, Midnight's Edge, they are I would call them a news organization. They don't put anything out before they dot their I's and cross their T's, period, end of story. And they check everything out, and they know what they're talking about. Andre is particular about that. I hear, and I know Tom does that, and I know Rob does it. So I'll back him fully on that one. And
you have to these days, because everybody's so litigious. Everybody wants to sue. You have to put disclaimers, just like they did in the video that we saw that we provided for tonight. They even put, this is rumor, this is conjecture, threw up a title card. You have to do that anymore to CYA, basically.
Yep. And that's and thank you. And Doomcock does the same thing. And the thing is, we come at it independently, though. It's not like we talk all the time. I chat with Doomcock once in a while. We talk about the exozone and check in with each other. But I'm actually like not super chatty on messages and stuff. I'm, the videos I do take hours. I know it doesn't look like it, but they do. They like my Star Trek video will probably takes 6 hours to make, 6-7 hours to make.
Production value.
Yeah.
Unlike the show.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. That's cinematic.
Oh, thank you, Susan. Well, I guess I could just do one of those, turn on the camera and talk. And maybe I'll start doing more of those just to get in the interest of getting stuff out. But yeah, I like to throw up pictures and stuff. I've been testing out putting on video and and knock on wood, we haven't gotten any copyright strikes. So,
Oh yeah, in hushed tones.
yeah, I won't do it much. Believe me, that would piss me off to take a video down. Watch Prospect 2018. Is that a movie? What's you don't have a name, you have a symbol.
Never even heard of that. Prospect.
Yeah, I haven't either. Oh, I want to see the guy who killed Hitler and then Bigfoot.
Oh, Sam Elliott. That's getting a lot of buzz.
That looks like a very Bubba Hotep type of movie. So I think I'll do a review on that, Mrs. Brewer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, if Brad Wolf, what was that?
No, I was just going to say Sam is kind of having a career resurgence now because he did his own little independent movie, and I forget the name of it, where he was basically like an actor, an older actor like what he is, and kind of, feeling like he's a has-been. So he did well with that, with the independent awards and the independent scene. And now he's doing this movie, and he's up for, I believe, an Oscar for his role as Bradley Cooper's brother in A Star Is Born.
Oh my God, this article is so long. There's her. I like the little graphics they have in it. That's kind of cool. But is this just okay? I'll read a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna read another article. I'm just gonna read. I mean, maybe I'll do. No, I don't want to. I'll throw a read of this into my Star Trek review, because this is probably killing my stream right now, having this thing up right now.
That whole article, February is Women in Horror Month, and I would understand if this was Women in Science Fiction Month, so they'd spotlight this, but I don't understand why this article even exists. I don't get it. I don't get what the impetus is behind it.
Well, it's we're at the tail end of a trend. I kind of pointed this out in my last Doctor Who video. It's funny how it's almost 20 years after the last time this happened, because things happen. It's a 20-year rule. Things happen in cycles. So those of you who are our age remember the late 90s and the big girls kick ass thing that was going on in music in particular. So a lot more bands were all female. There was female lead singers. There was female music festivals. It was absolutely taken over. There was one point, I think 1997, late 97, 98, like everything you heard on the radio when music mattered and alternative and pop was female, period. But it wasn't like this. They weren't like, it wasn't, you didn't take like an established male role and replaced it with a female. You just had more female in rock, and it totally worked. And I like some of those bands. Like I put up PJ Harvey. I fucking love PJ Harvey.
You had like Lilith Fair, and you had like Sarah McLachlan and Paula Cole and Liz Fair, and you're right, and all those, and like bands like their name's escaping me right now, but yeah, you had a lot of different females, like you said, but we weren't hit over the head with it.
Yeah, but it was also a trend that burned itself out and faded out, and it was done by 99 when Lilith Fair got canceled. They tried to bring it back for 1 year in 2010. Didn't do that well because it was just whatever. So that's what we're in now. That's simply what's happening now. So I'm going to read a little bit of this, and then we're going to get to the Black Widow delay, and I'm going to kind of tell you how this thing's going to play out. Just being a student of trends. Okay, so in 2018, November midterm. What is this? What are we called? I don't want to talk about elections. That's already starting out bad. The portrayal of women is okay. For the fans of the 52-year-old Star Trek legacy, for the portrayal of women in complex leadership roles is a natural evolution of the agenda of the show's legendary creator, Gene Roddenberry. The original series was a cultural phenomenon that induced a multicultural cast, championed nonviolent conflict resolution. It did, but Star Trek was still violent. And nobody wants to watch that all the time. It's good as an aside to watch a non-violent, but believe me, I'll get to it. Embrace science and logic and promoted empathy. God damn, there's that word again. So you're not watching the series, but empathy. We're getting hammered over the head with empathy. It's like Hollywood just learned a new word. Yeah, I know what empathy is. And everybody's born with it. Mikey Spock was, Sarek said he brought home Mikey Spock to teach his son empathy.
Oh God.
That's why he brought her home. The pure optics of the Enterprise bridge presented a vision of hope and a better future at the time when it seemed completely unattainable, said Star Trek Discovery executive producer Heather Caden, who does not get the heat she deserves. Kurtzman gets a lot of heat. She is right there with him. The Enterprise's quest to create a more perfect universe has resonance with viewers ever since spawning sequels, feature films, books, and of course, an ever-expanding legion of devotees. Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery premiered January 17th on CBS All Access, continuing the franchise's legacy of bold exploration, propulsive plot twists, inclusive casts, and trademark humor. Because, man, I watch Star Trek. I watch Star Trek for the laughs. Yes, there are laughs, but all while raising the bar with cinematic scope and mind-blowing production values. My God, yeah, this is a big commercial. Duh. We stand on Jan Roy's shoulders. I love that our female characters' gender never holds them back in their minds or their minds of their colleagues. Why is this being brought up with Star Trek? Why? Because of the trend. It's simply a trend. And it sucks that they're using this. And what happens when Hollywood burns things out, and listen, it's better to burn out than to fade away, but they are burning this thing out. The thing is, the problem is when you use agenda, when you use a political thing as a trend to market, people get sick of it, and there's a backlash. And there's pretty much a backlash to every trend. The pendulum always swings the other way. Okay, that's what's going to happen, and it's going to suck. And especially with how quick trends cycle out these days. So you're in production 2 years ago or a year ago, and you're coming out and your stuff's not even relevant anymore. Believe me, the Doctor Who season 12 is going to be such a crap show. It's really going to be bad and cringy and like worse than season 11. Trust me.
God,
but that's what's going on here. I mean, the one thing I noticed, and it's fine in Star Trek, it's fine. But like, did all the guys die in the war? Because god damn. Yeah, there's no guys in this show. There's some guy aliens and stuff, but they must have all died in the war. That's what I'm assuming. Whatever. It works for Star Trek. They just need good writing. Simple as that. I don't really give a crap about the cast, but
and that's something I'm glad you brought up, because we're always talking about the writing, and we're never doing personal attacks. And some of the feedback we get revolves around the fact that people think because we don't like a show, it's attacking the people that are, personally. We're not attacking Alex Kurtzman personally. We're not attacking Sonequa Martin Green personally. What we are attacking is the lack of any creativity, the lack of writing ability, and I don't understand why people are in umbrage about that, and they blur the lines. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. Because when you say that you don't like a movie or you don't like a show and you give the reasons why, and it's all creative, and you don't say, I hate the actor or actress, why do people blur the lines? Why can't they see it for what it is? You don't like it because you don't like the ideas. You don't like the way they're presented.
Yeah. It's what happens is sometimes when, you attack a show, people take it personally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's it. It's like, I'm sorry that happens, but yeah, I mean, I'm not attacking you for liking it or whatever.
Right.
Damn, I can't get the stupid video off, so I'm just going to hide it. All right. So Black Widow has been delayed. This is a movie that should have come out years ago, before Captain Marvel. This is a character I care more about at Captain Marvel. This is a great Marvel character. This is a really complex, awesome Marvel character that you can make one hell of a movie. Actually, I think it would be like a miniseries, like a rated R type Daredevil season 1 type of miniseries with Scarlett Johansson and Scarlet Witch. Do not go into her origins. Just put her on an adventure. It would be fantastic. It would be great to see Black Widow. So, one of my favorite characters, particularly my favorite run of hers was not even she. I mean, she's never she's had her own book, but not for long. But in Frank Miller's Daredevil, she played a great role in that. And so as did the Punisher. And, just roll with something like that. The start of production on Marvel's Black Widow may be pushed back to mid-year, according to the report from Production Weekly. The trade publication lists the movie's start date as June, where it had previously been expected to go in front of cameras within a month from now. There could be a number of reasons for such a shift, if indeed a shift appears to be, not at least of which is the theatrical release of the Avengers Endgame in April gives how aggressive paparazzi are. No, they don't change stuff for paparazzi. If true, the film taking place 15 years after the fall of the Soviet Union would be roughly in 2004, meaning that the movie will take place in the space between Captain Marvel, which will be set in the 90s, and the launch of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2008 with Iron Man. Likely candidates. That's going to be weird because Scarlett Johansson's pretty young. So I don't know how old she really was back then. Let's see. She was in Ghost World, which came out in 2005, and she was like a teenager in that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So are they going to have to de-age her to like a 14-year-old? I mean... or are they going to make her older? Or are they going to do something with her power? But they could do all kinds of weird things. Here's the deal. I hate this retcon crap that they're doing with Captain Marvel just to try to shoot her into the universe, and it wasn't necessary and whatever. They're just the reason they're doing. Well, that'll be. I'm going to wait. I'm saving it for the movie. I want to see the film first. I want to see this movie. I actually do. It would have been better if it came out earlier. And I don't know how well this movie's going to play. I think a lot of you out there see it, but wouldn't you rather see a rated R Black Widow? Do you want to see a PG-13 Black Widow? I don't. This has to be rated R for it to work. And then it could work. It could totally work. It's got to be violent. It's got to be mean, full of spy stuff, full of betrayal. And that's kind of the thing they really haven't done with Black Widow yet, because Black Widow betrays even the good guys. And I was fully expecting them to do that at some point, especially, she did it a little bit in Civil War. Yeah, she did, but not in the way that they've done it in the comics and stuff. So would she have gotten She-Hulk in the MCU? Yeah, we should. Yeah, man, I've done podcasts about that, Silhouetted Animator. You are correct. $5. As a matter of fact, when they announced Captain Marvel, we did a podcast that it should have been She-Hulk. It absolutely should have been She-Hulk. She's a better character. You are absolutely right. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. Best Black Widow movie was the Marvel animated with the Punisher. Yep. 2012 Black Widow one was pretty good. It was pretty good. Nihilus. It wasn't great. It was pretty good. Actually, there was a really good one with Marvel Knights when she was blonde. That was a pretty good run, but she's never really had like this classic run. I'd say, her appearances and other things have been better. And I still think the Frank Miller stuff's the best. They should take their time with Black Widow. Why rush something that isn't really ready yet? Angel, you're right. They should not go in the past. They should just give her an adventure, unless she dies, of course. Then they really can't. But it also goes to show that, Susan, they're doing this. She's the first female, no, like fully disrespects Black Widow, who's been there from the beginning, and Gamora and Nebula, who are much more interesting characters, which I would love to see something with them in it.
Because Gamora is very popular in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't do a standalone with her.
I'd watch. I like Zoe. So
yeah,
big fan.
She was in The Losers, one of my favorite bad movies.
She's good.
They should redo the X-Men movies and get on the R-rated train. Absolutely, Gladys. I could not agree more. But Bob Iger came out and said he's going to do it. So, I mean, I'll take the man at his word, even though, I mean, he's a CEO, so he really shouldn't ever. Take a man Blade, what's up? Current She-Hulk in comics needs to be retconned back to classic. Take a man Blade. We have a little thing here at the Nerdrotic channel, and now it's just Nerdrotic. Hashtag headcanon. The new She-Hulk that looks like a man is not in my headcanon. They made her look like the Hulk, except a girl. Which aesthetically doesn't really work for me.
No.
At all. So yeah, there's a reason She-Hulk was popular. She-Hulk was Deadpool long before Deadpool. She broke the fourth wall. It was like a little sitcom. It was a great comic. I have some original art from that run. I love it. And it's funny, it's charming, and she's a lawyer, and it's like, yeah, but I'm sorry, women weren't portrayed in anything prior to 2015. All women, all they did was sit in the corner and applaud their man prior to 2015. If you believe
saying this,
marketing, pretty much the creators of Doctor Who, the current people marketing Captain Marvel, Jodie Whittaker. Jodie Whittaker said all the women previous to her just sat along and applauded the Doctor.
Donna. Yeah, Donna did that so well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think Rose just hung out.
She did. That's all Rose did. Rose was just like, arm candy. Did Jodie ever see this show?
I don't think she did. No. The Losers, but neither did Matt Smith. But Matt Smith didn't say idiotic things like that. At least I don't know. Maybe he did. The Losers was a fun movie. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Idris Elba, Chris. I'm playing several comic book characters. Evans, KS, you're absolutely correct. I love that movie. Before Journey was all burnt out, they used that very well. Idris was brilliant in that movie. Yeah, it had a. What was that?
He can do anything.
He can. Except get himself a good action role.
Yeah.
He needs a better agent. To be fair, Whittaker never watched pre-season 11. No, she didn't. Loki dramatics. He's all to be fair. Like she got stuck on the Colin Baker mode. Yeah, right. The chat fucking cracks me up. You guys are brilliant, man. Oh yeah, I gotta reopen this window because this is now stuck as well. That's weird. What's going on here?
What is going on?
How's the stream looking, everybody? Does it look okay? Check in.
Hey, on my end.
Is Luther action? I would say it is. Yeah, I mean, like I'm talking about a movie. Luther's good. Flake 452. I would. Is it action though? I think it's more drama. But, I mean, they throw some punches in that. No, but Luther's good. Luther's good. I'm not going to say anything bad about Luther.
He attempted to get more action in the Dark Tower, and that just bombed.
That wasn't his fault, man. Again, get a better agent. Thank you guys for getting back to me. You guys are brilliant. You're brilliant. Okay, so I missed some super chats here because my thing got stuck. Well, that sounded bad. My thing got stuck. Armchair Critic, £2. Should we formally move Orville to STD to Star Trek canon? I second that motion. I second that. How about you, Susan?
Oh yeah, I would love that. That would be great.
Okay, it is moved to official Star Trek headcanon. The Orville now operates in the Star Trek universe. The Union is just a subsect of the Federation. It's kind of a working class thing. Kind of look at it as the B team, but they go out and they do kind of like the same stuff. And yeah, so therefore it's in my headcanon. It works just fine.
I like your idea. You could actually pitch that.
That'd be great. Um, whew, yeah. Silhouetted animator. I'm just looking at your super chat again. It's like, and now if we got a She-Hulk now silhouetted animator, you know, it would look like the one from the latest Avengers book and the one we have in there now, and there'd be about cooking shows and YouTube channels and. Oh my God, the comics are so bad now. They are so freaking bad. Like nothing happens. I remember, you remember the silhouetted animator. Remember Bruce Jones's Hulk run? Everybody bitched that nothing happened. It's actually really good because it's one big long story, and he didn't have Bruce Hulk up every time. It actually had to mean something when he hulked up, and it was issues between him hulking up, and people were getting so mad. But it was such a good run in the beginning. Yeah, that's nothing now. Now, like we have Marvel comics about people going to get stuff to eat and then people eating. Like, so for some reason, Marvel got obsessed with food. Food
What?
doesn't, yes, food, because they wanted to be a lifestyle brand. So they started putting in cooking and food, and they started doing cooking videos and shit. And this is Sana Amanad's idea, by the way. Food doesn't work in comic books. Okay. It's not even relatable. You're not supposed to be eating food while you read a comic book. All I think about is greasy fingers on my comic book. Ew. And then nobody can draw food well. Not in a comic book, not in the way it's presented. It's just a big blobby yellow thing. And it's just, nobody thinks of it. It's like, you might as well start writing about going to the bathroom. In one, in, out the other. It doesn't work in comic books.
I mean, what are they do? Or are they trying to make like Gordon Ramsay a superhero? I don't
They want to make Marvel a lifestyle brand. They brought in Sana Amanad, whose background is in politics, by the way, folks.
Oh, well, that's perfect.
Background in politics. And I'm finding that a lot, and I ask you guys, not that you guys have time, but look at some of the people who are getting in positions of power, who are getting in writers' rooms, and I'm noticing a common thread with some of them. Political playwrights, political science majors, lots of politics, lots of people with political backgrounds getting into creative endeavors all of a sudden, just out of nowhere.
No. Unless you have some sort of background. Now, it's fine. You could have been a poli-sci major in college or what have you. And then you transitioned into a creator role and actually you're a writer, what have you. That I understand. But if you're coming from the world of politics and you're trying to get into a creative position and you really don't have the background,
no. It doesn't matter. That's the whole point I'm making is it doesn't matter because they want the politics. That's what they want. So I'll save that for the Exozone. A little bit conspiracy, but yeah, I just listen. I'm doing my homework on these videos, and I look into people, and all of a sudden, I'm like, "Wow, look at that political background! Like that's way more political than didn't go to some art school or not a self-taught artist." And then with some other people, you just look on their Twitter feeds. It's like, it's kind of like they go about life like they're Alex Kurtzman. They forget the fact that you remember 1 minute ago. Or that you can look up a Twitter feed. So when somebody like Lucy Jones writes a big old article about how she's a Doctor Who fan and then doesn't tweet a single thing about it again, and then you look back on her feed and it's all politics. It's, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, let's be honest, most celebrities' feeds are chock full of politics. That's all they are.
That's why they're all muted for me.
Yeah.
I think Bruce Campbell is the only one I'll look at now. But when I started my Twitter, it was in 2008. It's fucking old, but it was actually it was the Comic Outposts Twitter. So I shared it with a couple people, and they started following all these comic creators, and I've been systematically like getting rid of them because, well, if they actually tweeted about comic books, I would leave them on, but they don't. Like Bill Sienkiewicz. Like, dude, tweet about a comic book once in a while, bro. So I muted like big time people because like I don't care what you think. I really don't. That's like me going to Joe Quesada and asking him what he thinks about fixing my car. Okay, because he's about as qualified to fix my car as to talk about politics. And I am the same. That's why I don't talk about him.
You know what? If we talked about politics, we'd alienate half the people of Neurotic.
Well, would, and I'd sound like an idiot because it's not my thing. So, I mean, more of an idiot. Sorry.
No.
Silhouetted animator, life is like a mystery box. You never know what you're going to get. Yes, that's the Kurtzman. Kurtzman. Alex Kurtzman.
Did he say that?
No, but he's making a joke, and that was a good joke about a bad reboot and their mystery box and relating it to the box of chocolates. Alex Kurtzman must know somebody. I mean, he must be like a super. I'm going to look into this. He must be related to somebody powerful, or this isn't a kid who just came from the streets who worked his way up. He's got a lot of help. He's gotten a lot of power for somebody with so little talent. I mean, like, you can make an argument like Michael Bay. Like, people hated Michael Bay, but you can't say the guy didn't have talent. He had a shtick, he had a thing. But as a director, like knowing like the actual physical thing of directing, he knew. Okay, you can't argue that. Like Alex Kurtzman is like Yui Boll, But I mean, like, I feel like I'm disrespecting Yui Boll.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems that way. It really does. Celebrities should stay away from anything controversial. Look at what happened to Liam Neeson. What happened to Liam Neeson was bullshit, by the way, in my opinion. I think, didn't he say now I don't know what the context was. I don't think he meant it as a racial thing. I think there was a saying back in the day. I don't know if it has racial roots. I don't know. I'm not going to say it. But do you think for 1 second Liam Neeson is a racist? Come on, people. I mean, like, the hyperbole around that was ridiculous. Leave Liam alone. Okay.
Now Michelle Rodriguez is in trouble.
You know what? These people need to stop being in trouble with who? The media? Are they the fucking parents?
Yeah.
Fuck that in trouble shit. You're not in trouble. You know what? We're giving these people way too much power. Innocent until proven guilty. Please. Same thing's happening. I mean, listen, I know the Vic thing. I'm aware of the Vic thing. People have brought it up to me, and that's not something I really touch here. I looked into it. I don't know enough details, but it certainly looks like he's getting a little, he was a little too touchy-feely at cons, but it wasn't like he was just like a hugger. There's people like that in the world. Okay. I'm not excusing it because I don't know enough. I just don't know enough. But I'm not a fan of these, for lack of a better term, these mobs, the villagers coming out with their pitchforks and their digital torches and ruining people's lives and careers based on. That's why I tweeted Sarah Douglas kissing me on the cheek at a con. Listen, I've been hugged and kissed, and I've hugged by tons of people. I get my ass grabbed. I've got my ass grabbed at the salon. I mean, like, I guess it depends on the person. It doesn't excuse the behavior, but Sarah Douglas gave me a kiss in the cheek. It was the fucking greatest day of my life. I was like, yeah. So, yeah. Can't figure out my shirt. It's the orb from the Ghost Rider. It's a Ghost Rider villain from the 70s, and I can't believe they made a shirt on the most ridiculous villain probably ever. Well, MODOK is pretty ridiculous. I mean, I like MODOK, but he's ridiculous. Okay. He's a giant head with little legs flying around. But yeah, where was I? Yeah, these internet mobs are not genuine. They are not about actually getting justice for victims. They're about getting a moment of power. It's a group of people who, I'm sorry to generalize here, I'm going to guess the vast majority of them either live alone, have some insecurity, have some personal issues to where they get off having that moment of power, torching somebody out of jealousy, out of whatever. Now, there might be some genuine people who are looking out for victims, but you got to remember that when somebody gets kissed on the cheek and they call themselves a survivor, they need to remember that they might be on Twitter, and one of their followers might be somebody who actually is a real survivor. Now, what designates a real survivor? Somebody who survived like serious violence, who had to go to years of therapy, okay, had their life changed forever. They will never be the same. Now, there's different levels of that stuff, and there's all kinds of help for it. But singling out a person for just being a hugger, and then, you know, his apology, I mean, he looked genuinely sorry. Now, if he did some creepy stuff that I don't know about, like, I'm not signing off on that. Just not. Okay. If he did creepy stuff, then man, you know, all bets are off. No creepy stuff. That's not okay. But we're talking about just hugging at a convention, which he's not going to do anymore. And I guarantee you that nobody's going to do anymore. And pretty soon we're just not going to be touching each other.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the Walking Dead guys are pretty touchy-feely, and people seem to love it. I mean, I never read where Jeffrey Dean Morgan or Norman Reedus are accused of, you know, molesting anybody.
Norman Reedus gave me a big old hug when he saw my tattoo. I'd never met the guy before in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, hey, bro. You know, it was a bro hug, but, you know, yeah, he saw my tattoo. He gave me a big hug. Yeah. Because that type of guy. You know, we're mammals. Okay, we're freaking mammals. Lots of mammals like huddle up and sleep together. It's, you know, it's case by case issue, common sense. But this kind of crap is making the world a very, very bad, uninteresting, boring, basic fucking place. And that's why we're going to get movies now that are going to be a bunch of gray people in gray uniforms saying, "How are you? I am fine." The end. That's what we're going to get in art if this crap keeps up. So, yeah, and honestly, it's partial social, you know, media is partially to blame, but it's kind of up to us to point that stuff out and not be part of it either, you know. And I don't think anybody in the chat would be part of that crap. I would never be part of that crap. And again, it really, it's the boy who cried wolf. Have we forgotten this story? You know, it's kind of an important story. Because when something really happens, nobody's going to believe it. And that sucks. And it sucks, you know, and if Vic didn't do anything, I really feel bad for him because like he's fucked now. He's completely screwed. And look what happened to Hardwick. He had a bad breakup. Maybe he wasn't the nicest guy to women, but like some people just aren't nice. And maybe he was. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. And I'm not a backer of Hardwick at all. I mean, I don't know the guy and I don't know her, but it looked like what it was to me.
Call me crazy, but if you're going to be on social media, go on social media with a purpose. If you're a creator, pump your stuff. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Go out there and tell them about that comic book you're writing or about that novel you're working on or the movie that you want fans to see or your series. Please don't go out and put on your Twitter feed things that you're going to have happen 10 years later down the line. We're going to have to hear about it, you know, and people are probably going to get on me. Well, you know, they have every right to say what they think about me. You know what? Go right ahead. But don't subject all of us to it. Can we just, like, if you're a creator, can you just create? Can you do that? And if you have something to say it through your work. Don't be on Twitter all the time.
That's what my last live stream, I asked, I mean, this is the crazy, it's never going to happen.
No.
But do you think maybe we could all just, and not a call a truce, I'm not a freaking hippie, but maybe more people, maybe Aquaman like really could be, I'll use this term once, an important film. Okay. In its way that it told a story without being preachy, and it was very successful, and Hollywood loves to copy shit. So like I've said before, they're really in the copying Wonder Woman mode right now and Black Panther, because Disney's insidious marketing campaigns using movements and man, just pandering to hell to make money, and it was done brilliantly, caused a lot of this stuff, for lack of a better term. But maybe Aquaman will teach them that maybe if we just are maybe if we're just fun and we try to maybe in these political times, just take a break. You don't have to stop forever. Just
You
take a
know,
break. 1 year,
one of my
one year off from politics. No politics of any kind in like popcorn tentpole entertainment. Okay, of course you can have it in like your little indie movies and stuff and shows about politics, but there doesn't need to be politics in Aquaman. There doesn't need to be politics in Wonder Woman. There doesn't. No, actually, there doesn't need to be at all.
Well, somebody said in one of my timelines I'm friendly with, said, if you think that there's no place for social views in art, let me show you this. And he showed George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Okay. I don't have a problem with Romero's Night of the Living Dead. It's a classic. Yeah, there was a message behind it, but here's the thing. While we were getting the message, we were getting entertained. We were looking at zombies and figuring how the hell was Dwayne Jones going to get out of the house? How is this going to happen? There was a very definite social message, but we didn't feel that while we were watching it. The world didn't stop and we didn't go, oh my God, social message right here. We were too busy worrying about the zombies and what the hell was going on. So we were being entertained. We don't have that anymore.
Yeah, and that's not what the takeaway was from that movie anyway. I'm sure there was a message. I'm sure people caught it at the time, but that's not anything me and my friends talked about it. 10, 15 years later, we talked about the zombies. So, yeah, you can that, and also it's called subtlety. It's called subtlety, and it was done very intelligently. And it just again falls to talent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to the chat here.
You know what? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a message. I think messages are important, especially in times like this. But don't start off with that's your idea for creating an episode of television or a movie. Start out with the story and let the characters tell you where they want to go. It really does work.
Right, Eric Hawk. The movie Equilibrium is coming. If I can talk, it's only an emotionally suppressing drug away. Yep. Oh man. Oh well, you don't know how true that is. There is all kinds of crazy shit coming down the pipeline. They are trying. Can't talk about it here though. Maybe that's an exozone thing too. But you're right, Eric. Yeah, well, they're listen, Angel, you're right. You're so right. And they're finding out, what's weird about celebrities is they don't pay attention to current pop culture. They're so wrapped up in their own lives. They're really the least up-to-date people out there. Now, there are exceptions who are on social media all the time and know the hell's going on. Most of them don't. It's pretty surprising. That was one of the surprising things I found out when I bought a comic shop. Like how few creators are actually into comics. And I mean into the way like buying your stack of books once a week, like a true blue comic fan. Very, very, very few of them are. They do their job. They like drawing comics, but they're not like really collectors. They're artists. And I was just like thinking, I thought more of them would be into comics. Now, back in the day, there was more people in the comics, but as Marvel was bringing more international people in, yeah, there wasn't. Like John Byrne is into comic books. That guy is into comic books, but most of them aren't.
I heard that most people in comics are in it to get out of comics.
Oh yeah, it's the only industry where most people have a foot out the door.
That's sad. I mean, they do it to get into other things, not necessarily, like you said, for the love of it.
No, they want a script written. They want to go to Hollywood and listen, because comic art is hard. Like writers have it really kind of easy in comic books. The scripts are, it's almost like a television and movie script. So, it's a page per script. If you're a good writer, you could crank 4 or 5 out in a month. That's low. There's no way in hell an artist can crank out a book a month. Now they used to be able to, but they can't now. And not without cheating. And so much of the art today is cheating, by the way, folks. I hate to say that, but there's so much what we used to call light boxing. So you know what a light box is. You just light box. You would trace, basically. You could pick out now it used to be looked down upon. Now it's absolutely acceptable. And now it's done so lazily. And now they're charging you $5 for that crap. I mean, it's like, no wonder why comics aren't selling anymore. There's too many politics. The art sucks. The writing is piss poor when it's not preaching at you. And and that is the reason. I could point out one person why I haven't opened my comic shop by now. Yeah, I might as well say it now. What the hell? I was looking back at this. I'm like, what really? I've been setting this up for 5 years, looking forward to it for 5 years, could not wait, was chomping at the bit. But I had a 5-year not compete here in San Francisco. Now I was playing with the idea of going up to Napa, doing a pop-up there. But after commuting back and forth to San Rafael to Tesla, I was like, no, I'm not commuting. F that. I will wait. So channel started taking off. Channel did good, and that definitely was a factor into it. But we had things to go. We were going to get the pop-up ready. And I saw a video with Sana Amanad talking about Marvel being a lifestyle brand. And I'm like, nope, I'm done. Not going to do it.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I'm not going to sell new comics. So if I open something, I will sell a few new comics, but it will not be my emphasis, which means it's basically going to be a hobby. So it'll probably work in tandem with the channel. But if I wanted to put it down to one single instance that really and I had people going, are you sure you want to do this? I'm all, yep, I want to do it. I got a plan. And I had a plan. But things in the comic industry got worse and worse and worse, and the division got worse, and more importantly, the comics got worse. And then DC did its dumb Heroes in Crisis thing, so that played a factor into it too. So whatever's going on in comics, it's not going to be fixed. And Feisty, hello, I see your super chat. I'll get to you right in a second. You know this. It's going to be 2 years minimum before it's fixed. Some people are saying it's slightly getting better, but the sales aren't. Fact is, I got to make money if I do this. And honestly, I'm making the channel. I don't have rent for this, and I'd have to go pay rent and buy product. It's just,
the guy that we were going to talk about in Chicago, in suburban Chicago, that is giving his shop away to somebody who's as passionate and loves comics as much as he does. Maybe it's the cynic in me, and he's going to give it away free of charge. But I'm like, is there some overhead that needs to be paid? Or there back taxes?
Somebody has to take over the diamond bill. You have to take over the diamond bill, and believe me, that's probably has something to factor in. Yes, this is what she's talking about, ladies and gentlemen. There's a guy giving away a comic shop in Chicago. I know for a fact there's a couple more that are going to be closing. I have to ask Brian what's going on with my old one. He was thinking about selling it, and I know things aren't great right now. Suburban Chicago comic book store owner holds contest to give away store. The owner of Chimera's Comics in Oak Lawn is giving away the shop to someone who will love it, someone with passion and ideas and ambition to make the store amazing. The owner of this 15,000 foot or 1,500 foot square foot store, about as big as mine. Also an attorney, owner of the shop's location, and founder of the publishing arm brand of do I know this guy? Maybe. The winner will get the store, its inventory, and fixtures. He made one thing clear. This is not a raffle, not a drawing or a lottery. This is entirely merit based, and I will decide the winner in my sole and absolute discretion. He wants to get out of it. He doesn't want to go through selling the stuff. And, that's pretty amazing that he's doing that. That's great, but they're going to have to take over the diamond bill. So I doubt he's going to leave them with any money, but they're going to have to come up with, once they get the store, they're going to have to, Feisty knows the transition process itself is very expensive. You're going to have thousands of dollars ready. So yeah, it's a damn shame. It's a damn
I
shame.
mean, I didn't want to be cynical about it, but when I read it, I'm like, well, there's got to be something to this. You're not going to be able to get that, scot free of any kind of like debt. So that's where my mind immediately went.
Yeah, I hope that's not what's behind it, but that would be a real big aside. That oh, by the way, you got $50,000 of debt. Like people are he's never gonna give it away. I had an option of just closing and keeping all my stuff and selling, and I decided to sell. I had my personal collection anyway, and yeah. What is my favorite comic book series of all time? Lone Angler. Ooh. Well, I mean, it used to be Amazing Spider-Man until One More Day. That broke it for me. That broke years of, yeah. So it used to be my favorite comic book is that's currently running. I don't have one. I don't. I there's some stuff I like, but so much of the new stuff there's it's few and far between. Daredevil. I like Daredevil. I would say Daredevil on that account. I like some Mark Millar stuff that I'm reading, but everything's so gimmicky now. It's just, and coming out with a bunch of number ones, and it's just getting so bad now. It's almost a joke. It's embarrassing. The comic book industry is back to being embarrassing. It used to be not embarrassing, but you didn't want to people weren't loud and proud about their nerd when I was a kid and get your ass kicked. So, I still love this stuff despite that, but it was still not embarrassing. It's just something you didn't want to flash everywhere, or you were going to get your ass kicked. But what the comic industry is going through is embarrassing right now. And I don't think it's I don't think it's smart or cool to be a comic shop owner right now. I don't think it's profitable enough. It's sad. It kills me to say that, man. So we'll see if things change in a few months. I've got everything ready to go. I've even got fixtures, but but the industry is like, I've been around a while now, been around a spell. It has never been this bad.
Almost as bad as the entertainment industry on a whole.
Well, they are following suit, and they are going to find out. Somebody sent me an article on Twitter, and I read it part way, and it was about Nike and how they went full on back. I can't say the person's name because I don't want to get too political here, but they backed a certain person that cost them a lot of money, and they did it for pride. And that's, these companies have pride. BBC will not cancel, give Jodie every chance on Doctor Who because they do, and same with Star Trek. They're going to save face. You got to factor that in. They will lose a lot of money. CBS is not going broke, so they can probably put a lot of money into saving face, because I think the negative of them canceling Star Trek totally outweighs them losing money on Star Trek.
Yeah,
that's just my speculation on that. Unless it's losing such an insane amount of money that they just can't, or also Les Moonves' people are gone, and you got the Redstone people in there, and they just hate it anyway. So that can factor in as well.
They're working on stuff too behind the scenes that might not happen for maybe 2 years.
Boom. I'm just going to talk about this real quick because I don't like Sean Penn at all. He wrote an op-ed for Bradley Cooper to get, I guess, nominated for Stars Born for Academy Award, something like that. I agree with that because I watched that movie and I thought it was going to suck, and I just went there as a date for Mrs. Neurotic. It's like, whatever. I don't, not into the Lady Gaga or anything, or into country music, which was such an odd mix. And God, I have seen 2 of the 3 versions of A Star Is Born as before, so I know how this story ends. I'm like, well, I wonder if he's going to make it this time. And spoilers, he didn't. And but I will say that it was a good movie. It entertained me. I liked it a lot. Bradley Cooper was, I know Lady Gaga is getting all the praise. He should get the praise. He went to a vocal coach to learn how to talk like Sam Elliott. And he also got the being an addict thing down perfect, like almost like he has experience with that. That was really well done. So I actually ended up walking out kind of liking the movie. So I think he should, yeah, sure, absolutely get
I think
nominated.
that what I've heard is that
Not that I
Bradley
care.
Cooper was wondering why Sean Penn even did the op-ed. But I went into the op-ed thinking, God, please don't let it be like that novel that he wrote, which was just laughable and full of things that make your head spin. But I started reading it, and he was absolutely correct about a lot of what he was saying in that article. The fact that we can't just be entertained now. And that surprised me.
Coming out of him, that's very surprising. Mr.
Yeah.
Cause. And if Sean Penn is saying that, that's how bad things have gotten, folks. If Sean Penn, I'm gonna go and swim around in the water in freaking New Orleans and save people, while I'm, in my opinion, coked out of my mind. And let's just say, okay, there's lots of stories here in San Francisco. He lives up here in the Bay Area.
And I mean,
my tattoo artist knows. No, I can't say that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going around. Yeah, Sean Penn's a D-bag.
Well,
but
he said that. I mean, it was interesting when he said he was going to raise the glass to get Bradley, and he's like, surely a raised glass is as legitimate as a globe of gilded gold or a male statuette minus a penis, also gold gilded. God forbid it have balls this year.
I know. Wow, coming out of Sean Penn. That's how bad things have gotten, folks. I think this just in, hell has frozen over.
Yeah, exactly. When I read it, I was like, wait a minute.
I know, that's why I don't even bring crap like this up, but I thought that was, wow, things are getting bad down there. Sean Penn is saying something. What's next? My God, that's like, never mind. I was going to use a funny analogy, but
well, you know what Rob Lowe did on Twitter, and I just kind of
I don't know if we want to talk about this, but
we can't. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I won't then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. You know what it was?
If it's political, no, I don't.
No,
I don't follow celebrities on Twitter.
It was about a movie.
Oh, what movie?
Well, he tweeted out something about Blazing Saddles, and he said, well, this movie couldn't be made today.
Oh, God, no. We've had entire podcasts about that.
And that surprised me coming from Rob Lowe.
Well, shit, there's movies. How long ago did Team America come out? 10 years ago? Maybe 10 years ago?
Yeah, about.
Couldn't make that today. Old School couldn't make that movie today. Step Brothers probably couldn't make that movie today. That wasn't that old at all.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
American Pie couldn't make that movie today. Even Joe Rogan was talking about, God, that movie was terrible. No, it wasn't American Pie. He was talking about the movie making fun of American Pie. Like the Scary Movie guys did Not Another Teen Movie or something like that. Yeah. Couldn't make that today. Yep. Or here's the deal. You can't, like in a horror movie, can you show a woman getting killed anymore?
Let me think about that. You can. I mean, I've seen some where it's happened. Horror's kind of different because, well, you have some that have things injected into it. But if you're going by, some of the pure slashers that are indie, they're a little bit different. But mainstream.
Okay, so Game of Thrones, which we're going to be covering. Sorry, I've been like ignoring the chat too long. So Game of Thrones is going to have all kinds of problems because we're into the whole like women need to be fighting. So we got Brienne, that's cool, but are we going to have like little she-bear Mormont, 8-year-old, or now she's probably 15 in armor? Like she was insinuating that she's going to go fight. She's going to go fight the dead. She's going to get killed like immediately. What is Game of Thrones going to do? Game of Thrones is probably going to get criticized. It is. It's already has been for not being this or that enough. It'll be interesting if it hurts the show or not, or if they just plow ahead and just be what they want to be art, because it's all pretend anyway. So, maybe we can give the little she-bear some magic powers or something. I don't know, but that would be terrible within the narrative of that show. By the way, I can announce here that Doomcock will be joining me for the recaps for Game of Thrones. Very excited. And I think I'm going to switch around some guests too. I briefly chatted with Anna, that Star Wars girl who I like. She's into Game of Thrones, so she'll be welcome to come on. I think Odin from Odin's movie blog expressed liking Game of Thrones. So if you're another YouTuber or somebody else who wants to come in and co-host, email me at Nerderotics if you're interested. Now you got to, have experience and stuff, but I'd be totally open. I think having a third person on once in a while and we're live right afterwards, I think it'll be fun. We can be like, there used to be a good, your fan-sided Winter is Coming used to do a very, very good after Game of Thrones after show.
Yeah.
For season 3. Not the later people, the earlier people. I can't remember their name. One of them used to be on Attack of the Show. Used to be the blonde girl who was on Attack of the Show. That was a good show. Well done. People knew their shit. They knew what they're talking about. Because a lot of the people on the Talking Thrones shows and stuff, like, they don't know what they're talking about. Game of Thrones, you got to be a book reader. That's a Mrs. Nerderotic always pointed out that you have to, like, within one group of people, you have to have at least one book reader for Game of Thrones. So they can, well, not anymore because they don't do any of the book lore. So, but they used to. It used to be worth it. Allison Hannigan, isn't she from Buffy? Or am I thinking? Yeah. Jonathan Winters is coming on Nerderotic show. Jonathan Winters.
That would be a feat. Bring him back dead. Wow.
Yes. I know magic. By the way, I learned it from Alan Moore. He wrote a book and I read it. I just learned the magic. Just a random question. This is the place for random questions, Gladys. Have you seen Norseman on Netflix? And if so, what did you think? I have not seen it. And I'm not allowed to commit to anything. Was it good, Gladys? Did you like it? Is 100 Bullets a good read? What's the story about? I remember it. The late John Shep talk about there was a movie in development. I only read the beginning of 100 Bullets, and I don't remember it. Secret Rebel. People loved it though. I mean, it had a very loyal fan base, but I know dick about that book. I couldn't read everything. Yeah. If you're not Angel Feliciano, if you're not a YouTuber, I agree. If you don't like Discovery, don't watch it. Exactly. As a YouTuber, though, we can't really say that, can we? It's part of our job. We have the good with the bad here. That's why we're not sellouts here. Okay, because I mostly cover good shows, but it's good to point out, especially when there's listen, there is a lot more to just Star Trek Discovery being bad and Doctor Who being bad, and we all know that. Okay, that's why we're making videos. So we don't need to pretend here that it's just simply a bad show because it's bad. It is, but there's also the other political agenda being pushed. And this whole thing, this whole culture war thing of stuff being pushed in comics, being pushed in anime now, being pushed in freaking wrestling and football and movies and Gillette ads and all this crap. That's what's going on. That's the main topic. That's why most people are coming to YouTube, because nobody else is talking about it in a honest way. And we're not saying one side should be here or another. I am a strong advocate for presenting both sides. When you want to sell something, you want to try to sell it to everybody. If you want to be specialized, fine. And for most specialized, and there are times for it, okay? Certain comic books, certain music, yeah, of course. But not in something for mass consumption that was never meant to be something to drive home an agenda. So when I hear Doctor Who was political before, but it was never agenda driven before. Big fracking difference.
Right.
Battlestar Galactica, totally political show, but well presented. Expanse, Very political show. Very well represented. I
But
wouldn't steer you wrong on that one. Counterpart's got politics in it too.
yeah, but it's story driven.
Yeah.
So you take it with the story. If a story is compelling and good, and I keep on harping on this, but Hollywood doesn't
It
give
needs
a
to be
shit.
said.
Yeah.
They're not listening.
No, they're not. And it's like, if you have a story, you can give a message, because people will be too caught up in the story and they'll get that message. But Hollywood seems to think, because they're self-atoning or whatever it is they're doing, it's like they think they have to be our moral compass. I'm sorry, Hollywood. I know what is right. I know what is wrong. Maybe that's a societal problem that needs to be addressed within each family. I don't know. But it's like,
Yeah,
it's not something they need to tell me.
When you come out and say, I'm making Doctor Who to create conversations, you've lost the narrative completely. It's done.
Yeah.
You've come out and said, and when politics are fundamental, these are Chris Chibnall quotes. Politics are fundamental. We're creating conversations. That's some hubris right there. I don't I don't start a fucking podcast. Now I'm just going to get mad and start cussing and go, I am going to create some conversations. I'm going to get them all thinking with my brilliant intellect.
The minute he just had to say that, it's like, you know what, Chris Chibnall? No, if your writing is there, it's going to create conversation. Remember the water cooler? That was the big thing. Everybody wanted to be a water cooler topic after a series episode ended, so that everybody's talking about it. If it's good, you're going to be talked about. But if you're going into the writer's room, I'd love to hear these writer's room conversations. How do they go? Okay, here's our theme. We need to talk about this injustice today. How are we going to do it?
Spin the wheel of injustice.
Yes.
Patriarchy.
Yeah. I don't understand.
I need to have that.
Oh no.
The cliche wheel of injustice. And yeah, I think I need to work on that. Real quick, we got to get some super chats here.
Yeah, we do.
We were woefully behind on this one. And silhouetted animator. Oh, okay. Well, hi, silhouetted animator. Thanks again for the super chats. You're brilliant. Jared Lors for $5 at 8:54 p.m. I suck, Jared. Sorry. What do you think of the Disney announcement that Star Wars Galaxy Edge attraction will have no original? What? What?
Wait a minute. What?
I am going to read that again. What do you think about the Disney announcement that Star Wars Galaxy Edge attraction will have no original trilogy characters? What do I think? There must be some rights issues, or they are getting some really bad advice, and now I don't need to go. I absolutely don't need to go. I was actually going to go. I like going to Disneyland. I don't like Susan. I don't like Disney. Never liked Disney. No, not a Disney fan. I like a couple of the cartoons, but I'm not a fan of their brand. I liked going to Disneyland. I've been kicked out of Disneyland more times than people have gone, probably. But yeah, that I won't go. I just simply won't go. I hate what they've done to Pirates of the Caribbean. They made that all PC and lame. The Haunted Mansion is still my favorite because that's mostly untouched, and it's like just the creativity behind that ride is just fucking beautiful. But that's lame. If that is hashtag no holdolds bar, like, yeah, forget it. Then I just won't go. They won't get my money. Plus, it's $1,000. It's a effing $1,000 to bring me and Mrs. Nerdrotic and just one little Nerdrotic. Well, the other one's not so little, but Feisty fan $4.99. Welp, I made it to the Friday night tights. Hi, Gary. Hi, Susan. Hey, no magic tonight, Feisty. Feisty helps run a comic store, so she knows what I was talking about. I feel bad for her, man. Oh, it is dark, 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 dark times. The Dr. 14. Thank you, Feisty. Thank you, Jared. The Dr. 14 Blu-ray reviews, £10. I am listening to the audio commentaries on the Doctor Who 11th. Why?
Yeah.
DVD series is there is no SJW feminist comments in the commentaries. I think that might be, we'll see. Maybe I should review those. Oh God, that would require me watching it again though.
Yeah. Do you want to do that?
I did a Blu-ray review for Star Trek Discovery, and it actually did pretty well. Special features, so maybe I should. But then I burned it afterwards. I don't think I'll burn this one though. A lot of people got upset about that. Not that I care, but the disc didn't really burn. The disc didn't burn anyway. It was kind of a waste of time. Like the case burnt, but the disc didn't burn.
People got upset.
Yeah, people get up. Listen, somebody will get upset from this podcast. People get upset.
Oh, there'll be tons of people.
Just gotta, you just gotta. Most people are happy or indifferent. So that's. I just look at it that way. I'll be the next co-host, says a Mystic Seer, $1.99. For Game of Thrones, yeah. Well, you got some work I can look at. Nerdrotics@gmail.com. Thank you for the $1.99. Mr. Roboto, $2. Hi, The Outer Limits, is it time for it to return? Yes. They're bringing back Twilight Zone, and I gotta admit, I'm a little curious. I'm gonna watch it.
Twilight Zone?
Yeah. I put it on our schedule today, so I will be covering it. And I am quite the Twilight Zone fan. Okay, quite.
I probably will. I probably will look into watching it too, because I've been covering it, and I'm interested to see if they're just going to rehash old episodes or if they're going to have new material. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's a mix.
I'm hoping so, because I know one episode, because they've been very, very, hush hush about. The only episode we really know is Adam Scott will be reprising William Shatner in Nightmare. Yeah.
In the one you don't need to remake. It's already been remade once. What are the chances it's going to get remade, especially with him in it? I mean, you had William Shatner, Jonathan Lithgow, and what's his name again? The kind of the SNL guy. It's an SNL guy, right? And not even that funny of one. I don't even know his name. He was in Step Brothers, right?
Will Ferrell? No.
The guy who's going to be in here.
Adam Scott.
Adam Scott was in. He was in Step Brothers, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was in Ghosted. That ended on. Yeah.
He's not that funny. He's kind of good looking, and I think that gets him a lot more work than he deserves. Okay, so Twilight Zone I will cover. I think you should cover it. Yeah, I think you should cover it hard. I think people will be interested in it, good or bad. I think there will be interest in it, but I think remaking classic ones. What are you out of short stories? Have we run out of short stories?
And I find that hard to believe with Jordan Peele. That he can't come up with something original and unique. And somebody in the chat said, well, isn't he a comedian? He started out that way, but he's always been a genre guy. So that's why I'm interested to see about the Twilight Zone, what his take is going to be on it. I know during the Super Bowl, his teaser trailer was very, very Rod Serling. He had Rod's inflection and everything down pat.
All right. So John Smith, $1.99. Are you going to watch The Umbrella Academy on Netflix? Yes, we are covering it on the 15th, I believe. I will do a spoiler-free review of the first episode. Then I will watch the whole thing in like 2 or 3 days later, depending on how good it is. I will do a full review. If it totally sucks, I will not do a review. And that's in my opinion, by the way. It's everything's based on my opinion. Like, that's why I haven't really done a Punisher one, and probably won't. It's not that it sucks, it just did not. It did not hold my interest. I'll eventually finish it, and maybe it'll be good, and I'll regret it, and I'll just do a late review. Some people have said it's good, and some people said it's terrible. So far, I'm very indifferent about it. Mage Punk Project. Oh boy. Project Magepunk, $5. Thank you very much. Any interest in the development of the Wheel of Time show? It's based on my favorite book series. Oh, I'll be covering the crap out of this. But what did you think about? So I have tried to start reading those books, and I just have never gotten through them. But I'm going to do that. That is on my list of things to do prior to the show coming out. I will have downed at least the first 2 or 3 books. I'm forgetting her name now, but what do you think about it having a female lead, Project Magepunk? The main character will not be the main character in the book, in the TV show, which I find to be interesting, and I'm blanking all the names. But again, I've just, yeah. But I'm going to, we will be covering the show, and I will make sure I know my shit before it comes out. So I'll do my research. I'm also very, very concerned project for Lord of the Rings on Amazon.
Why?
They better get it right or they will hear it. Because, well, the Lord of the Rings, we'll talk about it later. Hopefully they just go into that show trying to produce a show and not adhering to all these unwritten rules we have right now.
Okay. Sounds like a podcast.
Yep. Okay. So Mr. Roboto, thank you very much, Project Magepunk. Mr. Roboto, $2. Perhaps the writers need perhaps the writers pool needs refreshing. Most definitely. I think we need some new blood in there. And where do we get it now, though? We used to get it in comics and people wanted to be screenwriters, but now there's just where do you find it? They're starting to get people out of these schools. I don't know if that's the best way to go all the time, though. These like art institutes and stuff that crank out. That's not how art works. You should go to art school. It's very good to go to school for art and stuff, but it's also a kind of a thing that needs to grow organically, you know? There's a lot of people who are technically good at things without being great examples. Steve Vai. Steve Vai is a great guitar player, but he's not very creative. He doesn't write great music. He plays it very well, but he doesn't create it very well. He does great leads and stuff, but he's no, on the reverse side, John Lennon, great songwriter, not a very good musician. He's okay. He's all right. But none of the Beatles were like Paul was. Paul was a damn good bass player. But come on. There's a creative side and there's a technical creative side. So I think there's a lot of that going on, and like gets mixed up in Hollywood. Silhouetted animator for $5. Did you see today's Doom Patrol teaser? I did not. I noticed Cyborg has hologram tech like the DCU, like his DCU counterpart, but not what he had in the comics. Well, my opinion on that silhouetted animator. Anytime you go away from your iconic look, I'm not happy with it. But I'm going to like that show. I love Doom Patrol. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. That was the best episode in that Titan series. Asimov was brilliant. Yes, he was. Is there a mod? If so, where can I send an article for a show suggestion? Do we have any mods in here right now? I don't see any.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, that's interesting. Penn, you there? Yeah, I'm supposed to have 5 mods. But apparently I don't have any mods.
He was in for a little bit.
Tell you what, send it to DM me on Twitter at Nerdrotics. Yeah, somebody asked to send an article. I just lost who it was though. KZB, I forgot who it was. Okay, so at Penn Farm Girl, if you're looking for a mod, Penn Farm Girl, PENN, there she is right there. Star Wars Episode 9, Misery. How many, you know what? They don't show me number of people watching anymore. I freaking hate that. Nope.
I see it where I'm at.
We had 537. What do we got? 331 now? Yeah, I'm not seeing it on my end at all.
No, 469.
469. 69. Sorry, I couldn't help it. That's great. That's brilliant for this long. All my mods are on Doomcock stream. Yeah, then they are fired. Just kidding. Well, the thing is, one of my mods is like Doomcock's only mod, and that mod needs to ask for help. So I actually nominate Pen Farm Girl to be a mod for Doomcock. I strongly suggest that, Mary. Because we need to have more than one mod over there. I think is it Mecha? I don't think Mecha mods for him anymore though. I don't know. She's like full on YouTuber now, so I don't think she has time for it. DJ D Show has his own channel, so I don't really bug him that much. I kind of made him a mod against his will.
Oh, wow.
And a couple of my mods, well, one of my mods is in Europe, so he's probably sleeping right now.
Which one is that?
I think Kato. Kato.
Oh yeah, Kato. Yeah. We even. Oh, here's Pen Farm Girl.
Yeah, she's here. Yeah, I saw her. Yeah. No, Mary's over there with Doomcock. Yeah, she's got to be there. But yeah, so it's getting pretty late. Did we catch? I'm not sure if I went over everything though. I got to make sure I go over everything. People tend to.
I didn't see any super chats lately. A Mystic Seer is asking, may I become a new mod?
Mystic Seer.
Yes.
Let me see. Oh, am I spelling it right? Can you be in at least 2 live streams a week? Full live streams? It's kind of a requirement. But tell you what, Mystic Seer, DM me on Twitter at Nerdrotics. We'll chat. We will chat. Because I probably need a couple more, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think I probably need a couple more. But I'm kind of so yeah. The key to being a mod with me is you got to learn how to speak with my voice. So I kind of let a lot of shit go. I'm not big on the banning or anything. Now, I do have a line, and people have crossed it, and they find out real quick that they get banned very quickly. Now, I have only personally banned 3 people in 4 years. I mean, I haven't been YouTubing full time for 4 years, but I've been on YouTube for 4 years, and I think I banned 4 people. And they all deserved it, trust me. And then I unbanned one later. Just the other day, I unbanned that person. So I mean, it had to be really, 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 really bad. I'm not like big on the getting rid of comments, and I'm not a free speech absolutist. Okay, but I'm like, you can't say what you want as long as you don't derail the chat. That's fine. You can disagree with me, all that stuff. I don't care. But it's badgering that I generally don't like. What's up, Tarka Jedi? How's it going? If you are interested in modding, yeah, just hit me up. Well, my DMs are still going to be open for like another week. Hit me up at Nerdrotics on Twitter, and we will discuss it. But then thanks for offering. I do appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like it really freaking helps. It's such a thankless job. You don't get paid, but you have my eternal gratitude and digital high fives, which I don't pass out to everybody, by the way.
Yeah.
Tarka's here. My God, the Australians are representing.
Tarka's back.
The Force gets retconned. Star Wars episode 9. Yeah, you know, the title. Oh my God. Just like let it end. How about Star Wars episode 9? Let it end. Put it down. A Mystic Seer. God, your YouTube account is from 06. I have one from 05. I do. My original one, which I think I took all my videos down.
Well, you know, you might get your wish with the Star Wars because Carrie Hart has moved on to other pastures.
Oh, that's the one thing I was going to bring up. And this is a great example. I brought this up a little bit in my Doctor Who video, and this is the problem with diversity hiring, because, okay, nobody here is against diversity. And actually, a lot of the people making these decisions, by the way, I'd like to point out, aren't very diverse. Let's just point out the freaking obvious here. So I am not judging anybody for accepting a job. I would do the same thing. This is not a judgment on them in any way, shape, or form. But as Susan said earlier, I'm here to talk about people's performance in their job, and people are free to say the same about me. That's why there's a comment section. All right. And you know, listen, I sold pop culture for a decade. So I'm pretty decent at figuring out what's good. Not all the time, but I was decent enough to be successful at it for a decade and make money and pay my bills and stuff. So there you go. Not better or worse than anybody else, you know, and like, I think a lot of way too much is put on, you know, comic shop owners. A lot of comic shop owners don't read comics. I did. They get burned out about it. So this girl apparently has been fired from Star Wars, but they what they did was she failed upwards. She's in a consulting group, but she was in the Star Wars writer group. People had noticed that she's been missing from the website and everything, and all of a sudden this comes out from Variety. Dan Lynn's Ride Back MRC launch TV drama Incubator. Mm-hmm. So we're doing incubators, like, so Hollywood is turning into a tech company, and we're going to do writing incubators.
Yeah, this is interesting to me because it's basically what I call it is a junior showrunner boot camp. It's for people that have experienced writing shows, being on shows, but they're not creators. So they're going to put them in this little boot camp scenario so that they can eventually run their own shows.
So Hollywood's in trouble because for the longest time, I had actually been talking about this before I had a YouTube channel. Hollywood needs a minor leagues. They need a minor leagues. They need to develop talent, but they've never had to because people were just dying to go there. I'm wondering if that's not the case anymore. I doubt it is, but a lot more people are going to go the independent route because they can, and it might be affecting them. I'm not saying it is now. I'm just saying it's a factor. In this case, the woman on the left got fired. She got shown the door. She was the head of the Star Wars story group and partially responsible for some of the stories we were getting. Apparently, she did butt heads with J.J. Abrams. That was reported. I don't know if this is a fact. That probably didn't fare very well, that he got more power. I'm not a fan of his either. I kind of see him as Doomcock put it, a hostile takeover of Star Trek. And I kind of think he did that is attempting it with Star Wars. Basically, she joined this incubator. She disappeared from the Star Wars story group, and she's going to be a consultant on Star Wars. So she didn't officially get fired. This is what happens when you put diversity first instead of just treating people like human beings that get fired when they're not good at their jobs. But when you try to make something more than what it is, which is you actually just hired a human being to write for Star Wars. That's all it really was. But they had to make it first black female and stuff, and then they can't fire this. And what the problem is for the business is this is costing extra money by not firing her. They have to create a job for her, do all this stuff. That's where that whole get woke, go broke thing fundamentally becomes the problem, because you have to start spending money that you wouldn't normally spend to save face. You have to start saving face, and you can't just fire somebody. And that's happening in more places. I will say Tesla freaked out a little bit when I quit. They freaked out a lot.
Really?
Yeah, they did.
Why they
like asking me to come back and stuff, because like I up and quit, and they were worried about like that would get out and stuff like that. Yeah. They're worried about that shit now, which actually gives the employee a lot of power. Remember that, folks. But Yeah. So this is a case of just, this is when you have to save face when you're a company shouldn't have to worry about saving face. If you weren't good at your job and they can justify it, California is an at will state. You can fire people for whatever you want, and your butt is covered. But when you're in a situation like this, not that there's anything wrong with going out and hiring whoever the hell you want, but when it doesn't work, you gotta fire them, and now you can't say you can fire them, and that's wasted money. And sure, it's fine this time, but death by 1,000 paper cuts. You do this in every situation, pooh, you're in trouble. You're in serious trouble, and your story suffered. Let's face it. Disney Star Wars has been financially successful, but in the court of public opinion right now, not very successful.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. Because I read that and I thought, having come from a Fortune 500 company, I know how this stuff works because I've seen it firsthand. Somebody fails at their job and then all of a sudden they get a promotion and you're like, wait a minute, they weren't even doing that job correctly. Now they're doing a job that's above, they get a bump in pay and now they're doing another job that they couldn't even do the one they were at. That's constant in corporations. That's the way they do it, and that's where Hollywood is.
Yep. It's funny to watch them do. Again, I like this term because it's funny. It's the mental gymnastics they have to do. And then Variety writes an article and this little pluff piece. And like Variety, I used to have a ton of respect for. Well, not a ton, but like a decent amount of respect for. And Deadline, that's all gone. Deadline putting that 72% CBS article out there. They are no different than comicbook.com, in my opinion. No different at all. At least the New York Times put it's a paid advertisement on the top.
Well, they're kind of they're in a precarious position because Deadline, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, they're trades. Their sites are built on having relationships with studios, so they get the first scoops on everything. So they're kind of in a tight spot with what they do. I'm not defending them, but that's just their position, unfortunately.
Well, the thing is, like they were able to survive not being in print. Well, Deadline was Deadline in print. I can't even remember. They're just a website, right? But they have that going on, but they're dying now too, because things are way more interactive. And why did people run from them? And why did they go to YouTube? I talked about it earlier. They started talking less to the people. They shut down the comment sections because a couple people would cause a little trouble. And instead of just completely ignoring it and going on to the people who were, talking positively to you and wanting to interact with you, you just shut the whole damn thing down. And then you wonder why people stopped going there and why it's getting harder to get. Plus, they're competing with regular Joe now. Their competition is YouTube. It's us. Yeah, and it's tough because YouTube is I don't know, it's just easier, and there's so many other websites out there now, and honestly, if I was a Deadline, I'd be pissed because so many websites just rewrite my articles.
Well, yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but if you cite them, that's proper etiquette. But there are a lot of people out there that do not cite. I could name names. I'd love to, but I wouldn't write again. I'd be drummed off of media.
Yeah.
But if you cite, that's proper. If you don't, and they almost expect it. At that level, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, and Deadline, they know they're going to get cited. And for them, that's publicity because it's going to drive clicks to them and views. But when you just take their words, that's a different story.
Yeah. Yep. Copy and paste and then don't cite. Project Mage Punk said, listen to the audiobooks. TBH, I'm skeptical. Yeah, I am too. It sounds like they're putting a ton of money into it. So cross your fingers and it'll work out. But fundamentally changing a story. I mean, that's what they're doing. Here we are. Here we go again. They know better. To prop up what? To have a female lead. And this whole replacement of male roles that they think is going on. Just create new female characters. You're not going to endear yourself to fans of a project. What you're trying to do when you buy a property, I'm like, here we go. The Gary stating the obvious. When you buy a property, you're buying their built-in fan base. So when I sold my comic store, I had a thing called Goodwill, which was a built-in fan base, which was my subscribers. I put a dollar amount on that. That's actually the only thing that's really worth money in a comic store. Believe it or not, when you sell a comic store, the inventory and fixtures are sold on at pennies on the dollar. Even your big Silver Age, big bad books, pennies on the dollar, totally fucking worthless. The only thing that's worth money when you sell a comic store is your clientele. Period. That's the thing you can put some real money on, and because that's your cash flow. Honestly, even with collectible books, unless it's a key, Marvel key or something like that, that it's really subjective, good luck getting it insured. When you buy the Wheel of Time, it's like buying Star Wars and making Princess Leia the lead over Luke. I'm sure there's some people who would love that, and there'll probably be some alternative version, but Luke is the lead. Luke is the lead. If you want to write a different story and have Princess Leia as the lead, that's great. And maybe that's what they're doing, Project Mage Punk. But haven't Wheel of Time fans been waiting for a good adaptation of that book? Maybe it's unadaptable. I can't talk right now. Maybe you can't. Maybe it's just too tough. But man, that book's got a lot of fans. So I don't know. Thank you, Project Mage Punk. Yeah. So that was our last article. Susan.
Oh,
it was the last one we can talk about. I can't look at the trailer, really. I wanted to look at I'll talk about it next Friday. We can talk about the Pet Sematary trailer because I didn't have time to watch it. So why don't you read some chat?
sure. I will do that. Let's see here. The only strong female I liked was Sigourney Weaver, Dalek 2150. Oh, there's been other, other strong females. I mean, I would say that Jamie Lee Curtis is a good example of that for a genre. They're out there. Maybe make Darth Vader a woman.
I have a crazy idea. Why don't you just have co-leads, a man and a woman, and have them like Fifth Element's probably not the best example in the world, but that was kind of like a co-lead. You had Bruce Willis and you had Mila Jovovich. She was the focal point. Do something like that. Have a partnership. That's why I'm really looking forward to if they do it, a good Fantastic Four movie. You show a good marriage, a family. There's two men, there's two women, and they're equals in every way. And you just have fun. You don't have to put one down to prop one up. That seems to be, that's the laziest goddamn thing in the world. And that's the biggest problem everybody's having right now. And and the reaction and the talk back I hear is this weird straw man thing. Like, men were doing that forever 20 years ago. So now it's your turn. That's what Time's Up is about. It's about you, I'm like, really? And you think people are going to buy that? So we're going to sell you on your comic book story, but we're going to put an entire gender down, and you're supposed to be okay with that because some wrongs from 20 years ago or something like that.
Well, call me crazy, but that's what a good movie or a good TV show is supposed to have. Good co-leads. Somebody in the chat brought up the X-Files. Perfect example of that. Aiden Vickery. Yeah, the X-Files. I mean, Mulder and Scully were a team. Granted, with every team, you will have a centric story that focuses on one or the other. That's only natural. But I mean, that maybe I have some convoluted idea of what co-stars are, or what they should be in movies. But yeah, that makes no sense.
It doesn't, but that's the the kindergarten logic we have from the Hollywood Collective. and that's why people don't go to Variety anymore. And that's, why Star Trek Discovery has to pay the New York Times. Are people who read the New York Times going to watch Star Trek Discovery? Is that really like, why would you advertise there? That makes no sense. I didn't even think about that. That's the worst place to advertise, unless they really wanted an article written. Now I can believe that maybe somebody bought that ad and didn't think they would put that there. And it could have been an intern. Honestly, interns get given a lot of work in Hollywood that they shouldn't have. Interns just don't get lunch. Yeah. Why would you advertise in the New York Times for Star Trek Discovery? Like advertising Deadline? Like what crowd are you trying to get?
Maybe they're thinking readership. I mean, maybe they're thinking that the old gray lady can provide them with, the clicks that they're going to get. But then why wouldn't you put it in the LA Times?
Yeah.
I mean, that New York, yeah, there might be some sci-fi people in New York. There probably is. It's huge. But LA probably would have made more sense.
That's not knowing your audience at all. That's
Yeah.
not knowing your audience. Listen, Star Trek fans aren't buying newspapers. They're not buying newspapers, and they're not going to that website. They're just not, for the large part. So yeah, that was a waste of money. I think they were just hoping that maybe people wouldn't see the paid for part and just like, oh, the New York Times said something about Star Trek. That I guess makes sense. And they were just hoping, the whole paid part would get ignored. Or maybe they just had money to burn. It doesn't make sense to me, but what do I know?
And people aren't going to pick that up to write about from the New York Times. I mean, if they wanted media to write about it, they should have put it in the trades.
Yeah.
And they should have put it in Deadline, because then you're going to get your comic books and your CBRs and, your fan-sided sites to write about it. And that's where your fan base is.
Well, and they own 3 websites and the cat's out of the bag on that. So maybe they feel like they can't use them now.
Oh, wow.
They still do. Yeah. Well, CBS owns comicbook.com, CNET, and TV Guide Online. So there you go. Peter Davison, Jaegerbomb, Peter Davison, Eric Hawk, Kylo 101, TK, Jared Lowers, Neon Visual, Peter Davidson, Kylo 101, Neon Visual, Gladys Lowers, Joan of Arc 33, Anonymous for the $1. Thank you. Sorry you lost that. Randy Keller, Silhouetted Animator, CJ, Armchair Critic, Silhouetted Animator, Jared Lowers, Feisty Fan. It was good to see my friend Feisty. She's feisty. She really is. It's an aptly named person. The Doctor 14 Blu-ray Reviews, A Mystic Seer. Been on YouTube since 06. That's an old school dude right there. Person. My bad. Mr. Roboto, John Smith, Project Mage Punk. Mr. Roboto, Silhouetted Animator, Project Mage Punk. JPRPH1 gets one in the last minute, $1.99. Good night. Great show as always. It's only great because of you guys. One of the bummer that, yes, there actually is a downside to getting a lot of subs. And the only thing is I can't get to everybody in the chat like we used to. There, back in the old 3,000 sub days, I could read pretty much every chat, and I did. It's impossible to do, and I'm sorry. The only thing I can say is copy and paste. If you really, 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 really want to get my attention, make sure to hit the @Nerdrotic, and I will try to get to it, or hit @Susan, and she'll try to get to it. If not, copy paste it, put it in the comments, and I will see it there eventually. If it's something you're really hot on getting my attention, nerdrotics@gmail.com. Now that email will be changing in a month, but for now, that's kind of like the best place to contact. Oh, I forgot to mention it. Damn it. I got the best email today. Real quick on the way out. Here, I'm going to read it off my phone. I screenshotted it. It was just super nice. So I'm going to protect his name. And I'm getting my old man glasses down, so don't laugh too hard. Okay. Hi, Gary. I've only just got into YouTube, but I really.
Gary?